Football broken down for you by Bob Brooks and his panel of experts. Former Hawkeye players Marcus Schnoor and Mike Humpel and Iowa football reporter Rob Brooks. These experts are ready to give you an insider's view of Hawkeye football. Catch Black and Gold Breakdown Wednesday nights at 7 and Saturday mornings at 10:30 exclusively on MC22. Black and Gold Breakdown is brought to you by the Black and Gold Shop in Coralville and the Quad Cities.
This is Chevy Cubs pregame live.
The Cubs are putting a cap on the 2010 campaign. It's the final game of the year, and we've got it for you on Comcast Sportsnet. The Cubs and Astros live from Houston coming up at the top of the hour. Hello and welcome to Chevy Cubs pregame live. Gail Fisher and former Cub Todd Hollandsworth here with you. And once you know, the Cubs could end the year on yet another series sweep on the road. They had two of them before this road trip, and you know what? They had to lose one in San Diego. But what an end-of-the-year run it has been for the Cubs.
Well, you know what? The offense has not been bubbling over. There hasn't been a ton of it. There hasn't been a ton of home runs. But what are you going to talk about when it comes to this Cubs team and this great finish that they put together? You talk about great starting pitching. You talk about 26 consecutive scoreless innings out of your bullpen. Some young arms down there getting it done. Some older arms getting it done. Some guys proving themselves for next year. I think you're starting to recognize that there's a little bit of a, you know, there's a good foundation for this team to build on this winter to hopefully get better and maybe contend next year.
Well, this is our final pregame show, and so the final time I toss it out to Len and Bob. Guys, let's join them now from Houston. I don't know if any of us predicted this kind of finish from the Cubs. How refreshing has it been for you to watch this team win in the final month of the season?
Oh, winning's always fun, Gail. I think everybody would tell you that. And, Bob, this team right now actually has a chance to finish in fourth place. I know it's small consolation, but the Cubs were 3 behind the Astros 3 days ago. Now they're tied.
Well, and they've been winning ball games, as Todd said, without a lot of home runs, which has been the MO of the Cubs offense as long as I can remember. They hit home runs, they win games. They don't hit home runs, they lose games. But during this streak here at the end of the season, they found ways to manufacture runs, getting down bunts, hitting and running, stealing bases, aggressive base running, and I think that bodes well for the future.
Starlin Castro is right at 300, so there's a pretty good chance we won't see him at all today. He's not in the lineup.
Well, and, you know, we would have loved to have seen Starlin for one more time, but certainly we understand the reasons for sitting Starlin Castro today. He's had a magnificent rookie season. I think he's just going to continue to get better, especially on the offensive side. I think we'll see some more power as he moves forward. And hopefully, as Mike Quaddy said, he'll work on his defensive fundamentals till he turns blue in the face this winter. Ryan
Dempster goes for his 16th win today. It's been a really solid year for him.
Once again, that's what you expect from Ryan Dempster. He's a solid citizen. He's a solid professional baseball player, and even though this is the last game of a long, at times miserable season, you know Ryan Dempster's going to give everything he has for every pitch he's out there on the mound today.
All right, 2 teams for 3, or 3 teams for 2 spots. I'd ask you to make a prediction today, but I don't think anybody knows who's going to make the National League playoffs.
I don't think even the teams that are involved know what's going to happen today, but you know, I think when the wild card was first instituted, this is the kind of thing that that Major League Baseball hoped for, to keep some drama in the races right up until the last day of the season, and here you go.
Okay, Gail and Todd, it's been fun working with you this season, and before you know it, we'll be right back at it in spring training.
All right, guys, another outstanding job from yourselves all season long. Thank you so much. Look forward to your call at the top of the hour. Well, let's go back to today's pitching matchup. As the guys mentioned, it's Ryan Dempster. It'll be Nelson Figueroa for the Astros. Dempster trying to record win number 16 on the year. It's his 34th start of the season, tying his career high in number of starts. And I know that is something that Dempster prides himself on, innings pitched, being a workhorse, getting his starts, you know, being healthy for the season. And obviously the veteran going right down to the last game of the season.
Well, let's take it a step farther. Not only wanting to be the workhorse, be that guy who throws 200 innings every year. You want to call them inning eaters, but you know what? He's one of the best guys that they're sending out there for all of those starts. This guy has gotten it done. 16 wins on a team that right now is 10 games under 500 potentially, and he has been consistent all season long. He's had a few hiccups here or there. If you eliminate about 3 ball games in which he's given up 7 or 8 runs, I mean, his numbers are just off the charts. He's up there with the top 10 in the league, and he's just continuing to get it done year after year. He's 6-0 right now in his last 6 road starts with a 1.09 earned run average. Talk about finishing strong. Talk about making something out of nothing, out of a season that was lost. Ryan Dempster's done that.
Yeah, only those couple of bad starts and perhaps a few games in which he didn't get run support. And who knows, this guy could have been a 20-game winner perhaps. All right, let's take a look at the Cubs starting lineup. As Len and Bob mentioned, no Starlin Castro in the lineup. He'll finish the season hitting 300, which is pretty impressive. So Darwin Barney is at short. Blake DeWitt leading things off. You'll see the veterans back in this lineup, though. So Marlon Byrd, Aramis Ramirez, and Alfonso Soriano are going to finish their season today on the final day of the year. And let's talk a little Blake DeWitt, because this is a guy who came in obviously halfway through the season. It looks like he could be a good, solid second baseman for the Cubs for next year.
Well, solid second baseman, solid defensively, but that one of those left-handed bats that's going to give you some balance in your lineup, and that's what you were hoping for 2 years ago, trying to go out there and find some of those bats that were going to contribute on a daily basis that would give you some balance against the tougher right-handers on an everyday basis, and he has come in and done just that. He's been solid. He's gone out there. He's performed. He's been a pro, quite honestly, quietly, but that's what you want from the pieces that go to the puzzle. He is one of those guys that fits in real nice. I mean, I really wouldn't sit back and expect him to hit 300, 330. Maybe he has one of those years in his career, but he's just a solid, everyday guy who swings a real solid left-handed bat and uses the entire field. He, to me, is one of the pieces of the puzzle moving forward. Starlin
Castro, do you think he's disappointed he's not playing today, or what are your thoughts on him not playing in the final game?
I really believe he's earned it, and people have different you know, I talked to Tony Gwynn earlier in my career about this, and he was always a guy, listen, I want to, you know, kind of like Ryan Dempster, I want to be out there no matter what. If I'm hitting 299, I need to be in there. If I'm hitting 301, I want to earn it. But you know what? He's gone through a lot. He's had just a whirlwind season here. I mean, with everything, being so young and being in the big leagues and so much expectation, the big game right out of the gate in Cincinnati, so many good things have happened. I know people, you know, were talking about how is he going to improve, but I mean, let's not forget this kid's 20 years old. I think he's earned it. I think he deserves it. He should take the day off. He plays really, really hard. He lays it out there on the line. He has the entire second half, basically every day since he's gotten here. I know there's some things they want to work with him on defensively, shoring up his hands, you know, get rid of some of those mental lapses. But you know what? He has just done a fantastic job, in my opinion, this year. And this is a well-deserved day off.
Yeah, outstanding year for Starlin Castro, finishing up at 300. We are just getting started here on Chevy Cubs Pregame Live. What a finish for Carlos Zambrano. We'll discuss his return to dominance. Plus, Big Z talks about who he'd like to see join the Cubs next season. Meanwhile, Carlos isn't the only person with a wish list. Todd has a few ideas of his own for the 2011 Cubs. He'll bring you those next as we take you up to game time for the Cubs season finale. Pregame Live continues after this.
1,000 people a day are switching to Chevy, and the Chevy Malibu is one of the reasons why. Check out our great lease offer at your Chevy dealer, or log on to ChevyDriveChicago.com for details. You've got to drive the car.
Cubs Pregame Live is brought to you in part by Menards. At Menards, you'll find big lumber yards, big selection, and big savings.
Save big money during Menards door sale. Ideal garage doors offer exceptional durability and quality. An 8x7 raised panel is only $189. A 16x7 is $399, or step up to a premium insulated 5-star model. They qualify for an energy tax credit and feature pre-finished white insulated steel inside and out. A 9x7 is $359. A 16x7 is $599. Plus, all special order garage doors are 15% off.
Save big money at Menards.
is my first time to use it.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
You just feed your check in, feed the money right in.
No deposit slips.
No looking for an envelope.
I have an image of my check right here.
I can get a picture of the check on the receipt.
It even tells what kind of bills I put in.
Just put the bills right in.
It even did the math for me.
4 20s.
A 10.
2 5s.
$100. It's all right here.
I'm done. I'm out of here.
Quick and easy deposits with ATMs from Bank of America.
Guests on Cubs Pregame Live receive gift certificates to Harry Carey's legendary Italian Steakhouse, located in Chicago, Rosemont, and Lombard.
1,000 people a day are switching to Chevy, and the Chevy Malibu is one of the reasons why. Check out our great lease offer at your Chevy dealer or log on to ChevyDriveChicago.com for details. You've got to drive the car.
Finale. Can they go out on a winning note? It's been a strong finish so far for Mike Quade. Cubs skipper held his last pregame interview for the 2010 campaign, and of course, he talked about being the manager next season. Here's what he had to say.
This, like everything else, be it other offers, be it that kind of an offer, would be something that you'd have to reflect on and decide. And again, because I don't want to presume anything, I mean, if you didn't get the job, assuming that whoever got the job wanted you, I wouldn't do that. But I'm so comfortable with the people here, the players here, and everything else that it would be foolish of me not to consider it. So we'll see how that plays out. I kind of take things as they come. I'm not sure what all that entails, so maybe I don't have a specific answer. But look, you guys know who I am at this point for the 6 weeks, and yes, the convention is starting a season, but I'm here to tell you I'm not changing, and the way you approach a full year and everything else, and some of that will change, but I will not change. And whether that's good or bad for the marketing department, you'll have to talk to them. But I'd like to think that I am, yes.
Well, here's a look at the teams with the best record since August 23rd. The Cubs second behind the Phillies, going 24-12. They've won 8 of 12 series since then. Now, unfortunately for the Cubs, this surge could not help them make the postseason. It's really just a matter of finishing strong. And Todd, you and I discussed this. I'm surprised that the Cubs finished so strong, but for you, you're perhaps not as surprised because they did get a little bit of a resurgence, and that always seems to happen when you change managers midway through.
Well, you kind of expect that. I expected that when Mike Quade came on board. I expected them to surge, to play a little bit better. It was going to go one way or the other. You felt like there was going to be a surge, or this was a team that might lose 100 ball games. But fortunately for the Cubs, the way I viewed them, they were in so many games in the beginning of this year that they were losing in one-run ball games. We talk about it all the time, over and over again, why they were losing. And to me, it was about the fundamentals. What's the one thing, in my opinion, over almost 40 games which Mike Quade has managed, this team has shored up those fundamentals. They're playing the game the right way. Now, granted, on paper, they might not blow you away offensively. It's not that impressive of a team visually. You don't have a 40 home run hitter out there, or 130 RBIs, or that type of player that's taking the field every day, or in some people's opinion, even a #1 guy at the top of your rotation. But this is a team that eliminated the mistakes and found ways to win the close ball games. You go into San Diego against a team that had to win everything, that has everything on the line, and you look at how they've responded in San Francisco by winning the first 2 games there. So to me, that kind of validates exactly what they did in San Diego. They went in there and scored 7 runs, and they won 3 ball games in a 4-game series. That says an awful lot.
Yes, it does. Now, as far as the Cubs managerial search goes, as we heard Mike Quade talk about, General Manager Jim Hendry interviewed Bob Melvin in Houston yesterday. Melvin once managed the Mariners and Diamondbacks, and Melvin becomes the 3rd official interview for the job, along with Eric Wedge and Ryan Sandberg. You'd expect Mike Quade to get his interview soon after the season ends today, perhaps as early as this week. What can you tell people about Bob Melvin if they're not familiar with him, Tom?
Well, he's got a pretty good track record. He's had success. He's had success against the Cubs, and you think back to the playoffs. But again, you know, you kind of get cast. You get into those teams that have high expectations, and he's had a couple of them where you would expect that team to perform better, and it's underperformed for him. Now, you can say that about a lot of managers. You know, time comes, and sometimes you wear out your welcome. But, you know, he's a pretty young guy. You know, is he necessarily a fit for this ball club? I don't know. I don't honestly know enough about him, but I do know that the prerequisite is that you better have a really good Cubs history and a good understanding of how it works here in Chicago if you have any hopes of moving forward or getting that job.
Well, expect more interviews to come in the coming weeks since the season is over with, but anyone they want to interview who's in the postseason, they'll have to wait, of course, until that team is done, perhaps a Joe Girardi type of person. All right, Carlos Zambrano ended his season last night, picking up his 8th straight win. Big Z has been so confusing. You love him, you hate him, you want him on the team, you don't. You always want him to play to his potential. Now, upon his return to the rotation, Todd, he's done just that.
It's defining his potential that gets us so much. What is his potential? I mean, when I faced Carlos Zambrano, when I was still playing the game, it was 95, 96, 97 miles an hour. I'm better than you. I'm going to make you look silly, and I'm going to get after you. We're watching the new version of Carlos Zambrano. This is the, I'm going to keep everything under control. I know how to pitch. I know how to throw a slow curveball, change speeds, put the ball down in the dirt when it needs to be in the dirt, have pinpoint control, go 8-0 since returning from the restricted list with a 1.41 earned run average, and essentially saving your season. Saving your season. 11 wins on the season with a 333 earned run average. People, impressive. Now, some people will say, sell him now because he's done everything, and you know what? He's just burned too many bridges. But again, is this a resurgence? Is this something that could last for an entire season or for the remainder of his contract? Those are all questions that we're gonna mull over all winter long because you know what? He has gotten it done here in the second half since he's come back, and we've got no reason to look at Carlos and say, well, we've got an issue with you right now. He's done everything that's been asked of him. He even went to the bullpen, and yes, the blow-ups have all been there. We know what he's all about, but guess what? Moving forward, he's answered the bell.
And one more footnote about Zambrano. He's the first pitcher since Rick Russell in 1977 to end the season with 11 straight starts of allowing 2 earned runs or less.
Wow.
All right, now, you can always leave it to Zambrano to offer an opinion on matters that don't really necessarily concern him. Z says he wants Adam Dunn in the Cubs lineup as another big bat to protect Aram and Marlon Byrd. He made a pitch to reporters saying Dunn wants to be a Cub, so the team should go out and get him. How about that?
Well, you know, Carlos should stick to pitching. He's doing a real good job of it. You know, I'm a big fan of Adam Dunn. I played with Adam Dunn in Cincinnati, spent some time with him. He's a very likable player, and he certainly brings the 40 home run potential to Wrigley Field. He's a left-handed bat, but in my personal opinion, he's not a fit. I don't believe he's a guy that you want to bring in here. I also look at the Cubs in a completely different light, and I don't think it has so much to do with Adam Dunn. I think it has to do with the contract situation that you have with a few of these guys that are making an awful lot of money. I really believe that the Ricketts family wants to be a little wiser with their spending and in how they're going to invest into players. And I really believe that Adam Dunn, potentially, he could come here and be phenomenal, but he could come here and fall right into the category of 3 or 4 other individuals on this team who are making an awful lot of money and have been a little inconsistent for how much they're making.
I think you're right. I think Carlos Zambrano is not really in a position to make any suggestions. Todd, you are in a position to make a few suggestions, so who would be on your wish list of players?
Well, let's talk about the Adam Dunn situation. I think more, you know, and again, if you're going to spend the money, I like a Carl Crawford. I really like what this team is doing, getting more athletic and being more versatile with your lineup. Guys who understand how to play the game, guys who've got some power, have some speed, have some athleticism, good arms. You know, to me, Adam Dunn is a very dimensional player. He brings you the big bat, but defensively, he's a little bit below average. Well, to me, you've got that in left field right now in Alfonso Soriano. You know, so why are you going to add more to that? So I want to see this team get a little bit more athletic. They're not stealing bases enough, and they can just make a move in that direction. A couple proven veteran arms for the bullpen, an arm, you know, maybe even 2. I love the fact that these young kids got an opportunity, and a couple of these kids have really stepped up. Andrew Cashner's done a fantastic job. You got Marshall, Marmol, you got a good thing going down there. But for us to sit back and say we're going to expect the same thing from these guys next year, I think would be a little bit foolish. I think you can never have enough depth down there. And if you could go out and get a couple proven veteran arms to help out, I think that would be a really, really good move. And I don't think that's a move that's going to break the bank. And again, we talk about rotational depth. You look at the starting rotation, no proven number one. But yet they're winning. They've just gone on this incredible streak where everybody is just doing so many good things in the starting rotation. But again, I think just about anybody who's doing a pre or post game around baseball would say rotation depth is something that we would want, because you can never have enough good starting pitching. Now the question remains, what's going to be out there on the market? And if you look at the way it's shaping up right now, it looks to be quite thin on a lot of these fronts. So you have to decide, is it better to go with the guys that you have and you have in camp and are willing to pay, or are you going to overpay and go after some of those free agents?
Well, and are you willing to go and spend money to get Ted Lilly back too? We lost him, and then you of course also have to think about replacing Derek Lee at first base. All right, the Cubs aren't involved in the pennant race, but 3 teams are fighting for 2 playoff spots in the National League. The NL West and wildcard races all come down to today, maybe tomorrow, and possibly even Tuesday. We'll highlight a crazy finish to the regular season.
We've been bought by Sunflash? They're sharks. Man, they're young.
They're in the lobby.
Just for Men targets only the gray in 5 easy minutes.
Sunflash.
Nice.
Just for Men. Live forward.
For a limited time, the more you floor, the more you save. Save up to 70% when you buy additional rooms of carpet, hardwood, or laminate. Call now for Luna's lowest prices ever. There's more to love for less.
773-202 Luna.
The official team physicians of the Chicago White Sox and Bulls is Midwest Orthopedics at Rush. Voted the #1 orthopedic practice in Illinois and among the top in the nation by U.S. News and World Report. Midwest Orthopedics at Rush, when only the best will do.
We'll head to the 9th with the Cubs up by 2. You're clear.
Partner, that sweater is uglier than Shea Stadium.
Surprised you didn't say that on the air.
It's time for a new wardrobe.
I assume you have somewhere in mind.
Wrigleyville Sports.
Oh, no, that place is so intimidating. Too many choices.
Too many choices? Ever hear of asking for help? Their staff is the best.
Okay, say they help me pick out a new wardrobe. What do I do with this sweater?
Easy. Burn it.
Just like your hairpiece.
Save big money during the Menards Oktoberfest sale. Add storage and style with new shelving from John Sterling. There's a wide selection of ledge sets, wall cubes, shadow box sets, and more to choose from. And right now, it's all 10% off. Organize your storage areas, laundry rooms, pantries, and more with pre-finished bullnose shelving. A 4-foot white or oak print shelf board is just $3.99 each. Other sizes are also on sale.
Save big money at Menards.
Hey, ladies, you know the one night a week that's your night? Ladies' night. Ladies' night. Now Cupid.com is giving you a ladies' night. Cupid.com. It's your chance to get online with Cupid.com and get upgraded to a gold membership for as low as $1.99 a month. And it's only for the ladies. A gold membership. Ladies, you can have your night every night for as low as $1.99 a month with a gold membership from Cupid.com. Looking for love? It all starts with dating. And now dating is even easier on the all-new Cupid.com.
Here's the DAP 3.0 weather forecast for today's series finale in Houston. Nice 74 degrees, sunny skies, very little wind, and the roof is open at Minute Maid Field. All right, meanwhile, the NL West still has not been decided. Giants' magic number still at 1. They can clinch the West with a win over the Padres today. Top of the first now, bases loaded for the Padres. Barry Zito walks in the run. It's 1-0 San Diego. Next batter, Scott Hairston. Taking it high for ball 4, David Eckstein will score. So back-to-back walks by Zito puts the Padres up 2-0. Fast forward to the bottom of the 9th. Giants down 2, 1 out, and the tying run at first, but Jose Guillen grounds into the double play. That ends the game. So this was yesterday. Now the Padres win, and they can move into a tie for the NL West with another win today. Plus, they are right now tied for the wild card lead with the Braves. So this is where it gets complicated. Try to follow along. Here are the playoff scenarios for today. If the Giants and Braves win, the Giants win the NL West, and the Braves win the wild card, and the Padres are out. If the Padres and Braves both lose, the Padres go to Atlanta for a one-game playoff tomorrow to determine the wild card winner. If the Padres win and the Braves lose, the Padres and Giants both make the playoffs. The Padres would win the NL West because of a better head-to-head record, and the Giants are the wild card. If the Padres and Braves both win, that's where things get really interesting. There will be a 3-team tiebreaker. The Giants would face the Padres for the NL West title Monday. The loser plays Atlanta for the wild card on Tuesday. Todd, do you follow all this? So basically, they want the Braves to go away.
I do. They both want Atlanta to go away. This is what the wild card, when the wild card was introduced, this is what it was all about: creating a chaotic final week of the season, in the sense that there's all of this going on. There's the possibility of 3 teams, or they're fighting for 2 spots, and it's just so much fun. Essentially, the playoffs start today, and you know, in San Francisco with San Diego. But how about those Padres? I mean, this is a team that we just obviously covered playing against the Cubs, and they've come back and they've gone into San Francisco. They're 12-5 against the Giants this year. I'm pulling for Atlanta in San Diego today. I want to see that 3-team chaos that's going to happen starting tomorrow.
Yeah, the Giants are kicking themselves for losing the first 2 games of this series, because they could have clinched it on Friday. And the Braves are going to be highly motivated, because this will be Bobby Cox's final game of his career if they were to lose. So they are motivated to go out there and win.
Wow. What's going on in Atlanta right now? I know Derek Lee's down there. They're trying to get it done, but this Philadelphia Phillies team has just played some fantastic baseball. You saw the record over the last 36 games, and the Phillies have been playing better than the Cubs have been playing, and that says an awful lot, because the Cubs have been hot as a firecracker. So, I mean, these guys they're getting it done, and they're really not playing for anything. They're already in, and they've gone into Atlanta. I think yesterday was 7-0. So Atlanta's really, their defense has really let them down. 60-plus errors, and I think in about the last 2.5 months of the season, they've really, really struggled. And they're just, they seem to be running on fumes right now.
Well, we'll keep you posted on the post-game show. First pitch is coming up in Houston in just a few minutes. Todd will have his final keys to the game of the 2010 season next. But first, it's time to look at the upcoming Cubs schedule, brought to you by Just for Men Hair Color. Well, this is it, the final game of the season for the Cubs today. Opening day is 180 days away, if you're counting. The Cubs start on Friday, April 1st of next year. And just as we look forward to the upcoming Cubs schedule, you can live forward with Just for Men Hair Color.
Cubs Pregame Live is presented to you by your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Chevy dealers.
1,000 people a day are switching to Chevy, and the Chevy Malibu is one of the reasons why. Check out our great lease offer at your Chevy dealer, or log on to ChevyDriveChicago.com for details. You've got to drive the car.
Credit card rewards are always good in theory.
Sometimes I would get rewards, sometimes I wouldn't.
There's one card I had, there were all these rules and restrictions.
And limits.
Forget about it.
But I love this card.
Bank AmeriCard Cash Rewards Credit Card.
1% cash back on everything I buy, period.
No limit to the amount of cash back I can get.
No hoops to jump through.
Simple.
The refreshingly simple Bank AmeriCard Cash Rewards Credit Card. Apply online or at a Bank of America near you.
Meet me by the sea again, past the point the shoreline bends, where the sand is soft and warm and hangs upon your golden arm, and time won't move at all.
Ralph de la Vega arrived in the U.S. as a 10-year-old Cuban exile with nothing but the will to succeed.
My NIU MBA helped me to achieve my dreams and my goals.
As a child, Gloria Coco was inspired by the way her father served society by practicing law.
My NIU law degree allowed me to do the same as a lawyer and as a judge.
Come experience the power of NIU at our Columbus Day Open House, Monday, October 11th.
Save big money during the Menards Oktoberfest sale. Give your home a distinctive new look with cast natural stone. It's designed with the beauty of real stone and is great for siding, fireplaces, and more. It's available in 15 styles, only $4.99 a square foot. Protect your home from water damage with Spectra aluminum gutters. They're maintenance-free and won't rust or crack. A 10-foot piece in white or brown is just 99 cents each after rebate.
Save big money at Menards.
1,000 people a day are switching to Chevy, and the Chevy Malibu is one of the reasons why. Check out our great lease offer at your Chevy dealer or log on to ChevyDriveChicago.com for details. You've got to drive the car.
All right, Todd, your final keys of the season.
All right, well, we know some changes are going to come this winter, but for today, don't change a thing. They've been doing things the right way. Great starting pitching, great bullpen, and some timely hitting. Let's keep it going. Vote of confidence, Mike Quade, 24-12. I think that they can make one last statement for him. If they want him to be the manager next year, these players can get it done. And, well, see you 2010. It's been a down year for this team. Hopefully, they can take something from the end and move forward.
Go out on a winning note. Len and Bob have the call right after this. Todd and I will see you for the postgame show. Enjoy the game, everyone.
2010 began with high expectations, but the hopes for a successful season unfortunately didn't materialize. There were, however, some positives to come out of this long campaign. 20-year-old Starlin Castro improving all of his natural abilities. The sweet swing of Tyler Colvin. And the power and precision of Andrew Kashner. So today we close the book on another chapter of Cubs history, knowing that better days lie ahead. On another gorgeous day in Houston, Texas, the Cubs' 135th National League season comes to a conclusion today. It's a battle for fourth place as the Cubs have picked up 3 games on the Astros over the last 3 days to catch them in the NL Central standings. Hi again, everyone, for the final time here in 2010. Along with Bob Brenly, I'm Len Casper. And Bob, again, small consolation, but the Cubs have been in 5th place for the last 2 months. They have caught the Astros and have a chance to jump ahead of them by season's end.
Yeah, it's not much to grasp, but at this time of the year, anytime you can move up in the standings, that's a good thing. And the Cubs have played extremely well lately as you get a look at the National League Central standings. And no real surprises here other than the fact that the Cubs are where they are.
Starlin Castro not in the lineup today for the Cubs, and we probably won't see him off the bench as well because he's right at an even 300, but we need to acknowledge a fantastic rookie season.
You know, Lynn, you think about it, from the time Starlin Castro got to the major leagues, he has not looked overmatched, especially offensively, for one day. This is a guy that believes he's a big league shortstop, he believes he's a big league hitter, and he went out and proved it this season.
Ryan Dempster could have taken 1 start here on this road trip, but he wanted to take 2. He gets the ball again today, looking for his 16th win.
You know, you look at Ryan Dempster's season, Len, all those quality starts in the first half of the season. With any offensive support, with any defensive support, this guy could conceivably be looking at a 20-win season. As it is, he's going after number 16 here in Houston today.
Wandy Rodriguez with back spasms, so right-hander Nelson Figueroa will go on 3 days rest for the Astros. So it's Ryan Dempster for the Cubs, a veteran Figueroa for the Astros. We'll wrap up the 2010 campaign next.
Coach Vermeil, we got something here you're gonna love.
Let's see what it is.
It's the new Silver Bullet Pints. It's cold activated with the resealable cap so you can keep it covered.
Cover.
And look at this guy. He's 16 ounces. He's huge.
He's a horse.
Oh, yeah. And we got one right here with your name on it for after the game. No. After the game.
The new Silver Bullet aluminum pipe from Coors Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL.
Look at him run.
He's like a baby deer.
Enjoy 18 holes of scenic, challenging golf at Palmer Hills in Bettendorf. We offer beautiful scenic views for golfers of all levels, with plenty of hazards for even the most experienced players. Professional instruction is also available. Sink your teeth into a burger or a handmade pizza at Palmer Grill after the game or anytime. And check out the golf shop at Palmer Hills for the finest selection in apparel and equipment for you or your favorite golfer. Palmer Hills in Bettendorf. It's a great golf course and much more.
Imagine finding exactly the right person for the job. That feeling you get when you hand off a task and you know it's going to be handled perfectly. At quadhelpwanted.com, we understand. Post your job using as many words as you want. Find qualified local candidates. Everything is done online. No piles of resumes, no phone calls clogging your system, all because you've handed the task to us. Quadhelpwanted.com. Long name, amazing results.
Cubs baseball on Comcast Sportsnet is brought to you in part by your Chicago area Lexus dealer, who invites you to test drive a Lexus today. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. Member owned means our reason for being is your well-being. Experience wellness everywhere. AT&T, rethink possible. And by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com.
Well, this weekend, by far the best weather we've ever had here in Houston for a Cubs-Astros series. You're watching the Cubs and the Stros on Comcast Sportsnet, presented by Allstate. Mild temperatures, blue skies, roof open, and Blake DeWitt will lead it off. We'll get you the rest of the Cubs Southwest starting lineup here in a second. Right-hander Nelson Figueroa working on just 3 days of rest as he gets the emergency start. Found out yesterday that left-hander Wandy Rodriguez, because of a back injury, would be unable to go. Quickly 0-2. Good curveball from Figueroa. It's the third time in his career he has pitched as a starter on short rest. 0-2 with a 3.27 in these types of starts, but wouldn't imagine Brad Mills is going to push him too deep into this game today.
Yeah, you wouldn't think so, and you will see a lot of breaking pitches from Figueroa. He does have a decent fastball in the low 90s, but he'll feature a slider, a curveball, an occasional straight changeup, and working on short rest, I anticipate a lot of breaking pitches today.
One and two on DeWitt. Just got a piece of it. Bob Davidson, the crew chief, gets a final regular season game.
His last chance to call a balk in the 2010 season.
That's right. Well, he calls a strikeout to start the game. Here's the rest of the Cubs Southwest starting lineup. Darwin Barney in there for Starlin Castro at short. Bird, Ramirez, Nady, Soriano, the veterans, starting today. Brad Snyder's in right, Coy Hill catching, and Ryan Dempster the pitcher. So we've probably seen the last of Kosuke Fukudome for the season.
Lee, Bogusevic, and Pence across the outfield for the Astros today. Johnson, Manzella, Keppinger, and Wallace across the infield. One of my favorites behind the plate, Humberto Quintero. And he'll be receiving pitches from right-hander Nelson Figueroa.
Barney hits it foul out of play off to the right. We talked about Starlin Castro in the open. As you see Figueroa's combined stats. He was acquired on waivers from the Phillies on July 21st. Starlin was going to play the entire game last night no matter what. According to his manager, if the game had gone 17 innings, he would have been in there. But it worked out that by the end of the night, he went from 298 to 300 as he had 2 hits, reached base 4 times. And as a reward for being at 300 going into the final day, he will finish the season at 300 as Barney grounds out. The other distinction Mike Quaddy made, Bob, was he didn't tell Starlin before the game yesterday what he was planning to do. And I think a lot of that comes from being a young player versus a veteran. Mike Quaddy has said all along that, the veterans get the benefit of the doubt here late in the season in terms of playing time and what have you. And the young guys have to earn their stripes. So even though Castro has been excellent all season long, there's still kind of a pecking order. And if he had gone 0 for 5 last night, he would have been in danger of not hitting 300. But if that had happened, I think, and Mike Quaddy told us before the game, he probably would have put him in the lineup to give him a chance to finish at 300.
And knowing Starlin Castro the way we do, I don't think it really makes that much of a difference to him. He probably showed up at the ballpark today expecting to play, wanting to play, but in the grand scheme of things, I think Mike Quaddy is doing the right thing. It's going to look a lot better on the back of Starlin's bubblegum card when you see that 3 in front of your batting average than a 2.
And do you, I mean, obviously you understand it. Do you agree with the idea of young players kind of having to maybe do a little bit more, earn a little bit more than the veterans who already have gone through this?
Absolutely. You got to earn the right.
So Bird strikes out. Figueroa with a 1-2-3 first. Ryan Dempster takes the ball when we come back.
Ma'am, can you identify the other airline that charged you bag fees?
That's it. That one right there.
Exactly how much did the other airlines make off with?
It was like $25.
Was that one way or round trip?
Round trip. $50?
Did you have a second bag?
Yes. Was $35?
That's $120 round trip.
Save big money during the Menards Oktoberfest sale. Castlebrook laminated architectural shingles are on sale. With a dimensional appearance, Class A fire rating, and up to an 80-mile-per-hour wind warranty, 35-year shingles are just $22.97 per bundle after rebate. This 24 by 39-inch low-E white storm window from Larson cuts energy loss by up to 60%. Choose from 12 stock sizes starting at $49.99. Plus, all special order Larson storm windows are 15% off.
Save big money at Menards.
Ralph de la Vega arrived in the U.S. as a 10-year-old Cuban exile with nothing but the will to succeed.
My NIU MBA helped me to achieve my dreams and my goals.
As a child, Gloria Coco was inspired by the way her father served society by practicing law.
My NIU law degree allowed me to do the same as a lawyer and as a judge.
Come experience the power of NIU at our Columbus Day Open House, Monday, October 11th.
Here's the Astros Southwest starting lineup. They have really struggled here lately. They've dropped 9 of their last 11. Brian Bogusevic in center, Jeff Keppinger at second. Hence Lee, Chris Johnson, the third baseman, leads all rookies in batting average at .309. Brett Wallace at first. Humberto Quintero behind the plate. Tommy Manzella gets the nod at short, and Figueroa, the pitcher, hits 9.
Take a look at the Cubs defense for the last time in the 2010 season. It'll be Soriano, Bird, and Snyder across the outfield this afternoon. Ramirez and Barney on the left side of the infield. DeWitt and Nady on the right side. Coy Hill will be behind the plate today for right-hander Ryan Dempster, looking for his 16th victory of the season.
Called strike on Brian Bogusevic. 0 for 3 with a walk and a run in the series. He hits that one foul. An interesting paragraph, Bob, on the front page of the Astros media notes. It's called Medical News. Right-hander Jeff Fulcino is scheduled to undergo right elbow surgery tomorrow to repair some inflamed tissue. Left-hander Tim Burdack has been diagnosed with a sports hernia. He'll be examined by a doctor in Worcester, Mass on October 12th. And Brian Bogusevic's going to have his right foot looked at Tuesday. And surgery may be required. I have a feeling that if every team put that particular paragraph in the notes, you'd have 2 or 3 guys in the same exact situation.
If not more.
Yep.
Some more serious than others, but certainly everybody in uniform today is dealing with some kind of issues, some minor, some a little more major. But like we talked about it last week, you go to the team trainers and the team doctor and you say, if I continue to play, can I hurt it any worse? And if the doc says no, then you just keep on playing.
Ryan Dempster, 33 years old, 6'2", 215 pounds, tying his own career mark by making his 34th start. Made 34 starts in 2001 with the Florida Marlins. He's the third Canadian-born pitcher to have 3 15-win seasons. Fergie Jenkins did it 10 times. Russ Ford 3 times as he gets Bogusevic on a nice slider for out number 1.
One of the coolest things, Len, about our job, watching baseball on a daily basis and watching the progress of some players. I love watching Ryan Dempster pitch this season, waiting to see what he has working on a given day. There have been some starts where Ryan has gone out and had a real good sinker and a real good splitter and has thrown very few sliders. Other starts he's had a real good slider, so he's gone to that early in the game. There was a stretch in the middle of the season where he threw a lot of four-seam fastballs across the top of the strike zone, constantly altering his approach depending on what's working on a given day, the strengths and weaknesses of his opposition. And that's kind of fun to watch, a veteran pitcher who has the weapons available that Dempster does as he tries to find out early in the start what is working today.
Jeff Keppinger has had good success against Dempster, but not there as he lines out to Nady. So 2 outs, it brings up another guy who's had the upper hand, Hunter Pence, hitting 321 or 323 rather in his career against Dempster with a couple of home runs. Dempster's been really good on the road. He's won 6 consecutive starts on the road and is 10-4 away from Wrigley this season. Downstairs, ball 1.
That's something you'd really like to see the ball club tighten up. With a win today, they would have an opportunity to go over the 500 mark on the road this year. However, 11 games under at Wrigley. That just should not happen.
Lone outside, and Pence was able to hold up. We've got one eye on the Phillies and Braves and the Padres and Giants today. All kinds of bizarre scenarios are possible for the final 2 spots in the postseason. Phillies lead at Atlanta 2-0 on a John Mayberry. John Mayberry, sorry, not John Mabry, the former Cub. Pinch hit, 2-run homer. He was batting for Cole Hamels. Hamels was scheduled to go 2 innings, so he did. Roy Oswalt is in the game pitching in relief as the Phillies set up their postseason pitching staff. And it gets really complicated. We'll try to sort it all out as we move along. But of all the things I've read about the possible scenarios today, I think the most insightful comes from Joe Posnanski in his blog today. He says it would probably help the Phillies to lose today because that's the only way to create the 3-way tie mess. Fly ball to deep center. Marlon Byrd with lots of room. It's 436. The straightaway center, but he'd have to run up Tal's Hill to get to that point. He didn't there, and that ends the first. Scoreless.
Here's a myth. Nothing bad will ever happen. The truth, sooner or later, a little mayhem hits us all. Today, there will be 15,920 accidents, and that's just cars. If you've got cut rate insurance, that probably doesn't make you feel too good, but this will. Allstate can give you a low price without cutting coverage. Dollar for dollar, nobody helps protect your car, your boat, your home, your world from mayhem like Allstate.
For a limited time, the more you floor, the more you save. Save up to 70% when you buy additional rooms of carpet, hardwood, or laminate. Call now for Luna's lowest prices ever. There's more to love for less.
773-202 Luna.
See Wrigley Field like you never have before. Take a 90-minute behind-the-scenes tour of this legendary ballpark. Now, Chicago Trolley offers convenient transportation to and from Wrigley Field. Purchase tickets by calling 1-800-THE-CUBS or by visiting Cubs.com.
BT Summer Sell Down with 0% APR and rebates up to $4,000 in the Mitsubishi of your choice.
Tonight after Bears-Giants, don't miss Bears post-game live. Pat Boyle, Jim Miller, Dan Jiggets will join new host Howard Griffith for a complete game breakdown. Plus Kip Lewis is live with player and coach reaction. U.S. Cellular Bears post-game live tonight after the Bears game on Comcast Sportsnet. That missed to Aramis Ramirez, who hit his 9th career grand slam last night. That made it 8-0. The Cubs would win the game 8-3. They have clinched their first series win against the Astros this season. And as we mentioned, pulled the Cubs into a 4th place tie after being in 5th place since early August. Johnson will throw to first to get Ramirez. Just to finish up the NL playoff race scenarios, Joe Posnanski pointing out that it's possible, Bob, that the Padres or Giants could play, well, they are playing today in San Francisco, tomorrow in San Diego, Tuesday in Atlanta, and then Wednesday to start the postseason in Philadelphia. So his point is, if the Phillies lose that game and the Padres win, the Phillies could really mess up somebody's pitching staff. But I think we would both agree that when you try to mess with fate, you might be upsetting the baseball gods. So the Phillies will just try to win that game. Xavier Nady cranks it deep. Is it fair? No. Wow, he crushed that one. I think it went completely out of the ballpark, but just to the left of the foul pole.
Tough call for third base umpire Lance Barrett. That ball was hit so high in the air it went over the foul pole, but he's about halfway from home plate to the foul pole. Had a real good look at it, as good a look as anybody in the ballpark. And in his estimation, the ball was foul when it left the yard here.
No argument from Ivan De Jesus or from Nady. And that one fouled off to the right. Can you imagine playing 4 games in 4 days in 4 different cities on both coasts? That's possible.
The biggest possible games you could play.
Yeah. Carlos Lee will play it on a hop as Nady has a 1-out single. That's the first hit of the game for either team. And somebody might be running on fumes. I, as a baseball fan, I kind of hope it happens. It would be kind of fun to watch all these games that are essentially elimination games over the next several days.
As a fan, I would tend to agree with you, but as somebody who's been down in the dugout before, for me, that's the last thing in the world you want to see. Guys have played 162 games. I understand a possible tie-breaking scenario, but this is the time of year that you want to see the best possible baseball that the game has to offer. You've whittled it down to the best teams in each league. They're going to go at it, and unfortunately, because of the scenario you described, there could possibly be a team limping into the postseason and probably not at their best.
The one team that cannot be eliminated today is the Giants. No matter what happens, they at the very least would play tomorrow. And I think there's a sentimental favorite in the Braves because of Bobby Cox retiring. So it's possible today could be his final game as a big league manager. bat goes flying as the ball is fielded by Figueroa. He'll get the out at first.
I tend to agree with your comment last night. Since the Tyler Colvin incident, we've seen a lot more broken bats like this one where the barrel goes whirly-birding either into the field of play or up into the stands. We've seen more since the Tyler Colvin incident than I think we did the entire season leading up to that. Maybe the bats are drying out here late in the season. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe we're just more sensitive to it. As Brad Snyder, who's been seeing a lot of playing time here on this trip with Kosuke Fukudome's knee issue. And again, Kosuke probably won't see any more action. His final game of the season ended up being Wednesday. Another broken bat. This one didn't shatter, though, as Snyder's going to beat it out. No, he didn't. We'll get another look at it, but Tim Timmons called him out. No score.
Tuesday nights at 11. Don't miss the Pat Fitzgerald Show on Comcast Sportsnet. Northwestern's head coach will break down Saturday's big game and look ahead to the upcoming matchup. The Pat Fitzgerald Show, Tuesday nights at 11 on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend.
Grass be greener, all for you. Life tickled pink in skies of blue.
The story Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois has always been committed to? Answering to you, not Wall Street. So we don't have investors caring about a bull or bear, just members caring about 5 little piggies.
Find blue skies everywhere.
IS. It isn't real performance unless it's wielded with precision. Lease select IS models, including remaining 2010 IS all-wheel drive 250s, starting as low as $349 a month for 36 months, with $37.95 due at signing. See your Lexus dealer.
The official team physicians of the Chicago White Sox and Bulls is Midwest Orthopedics at Rush. Voted the #1 orthopedic practice in Illinois and among the top in the nation by U.S. News and World Report. Midwest Orthopedics at Rush, when only the best will do.
Yeah, slowly hit ball off the bat of Brad Snyder because of the broken bat. It certainly appeared with the naked eye that he beat the play at first, and upon replay, he beat it by a wide margin. Horrible call by Tim Timmons down there at first base. That's not even close. And to his credit, Brad Snyder didn't take that one last leap at the base. He just continued to run right straight through the bag, and as our replay clearly showed, he beat that out. Should have had an infield hit.
Here's Carlos Lee. Reached twice last night as he walked in, was hit by a pitch, but he does not have a hit in the series. He's 0 for 6. Two balls, no strikes. Bob, Carlos Lee does not have a hit the entire month, which started Friday. Hit hard, but Brad Snyder actually had to leap a little bit at the end to make that catch. That ball was really taking off.
Oh, we've seen that throughout this series. Balls hit the right field are carrying a lot further than the right fielders expect them to. That one nearly got over the head of Snyder.
For the true Wrigley Field experience, stop by the Captain Morgan Club before or after the Cubs game. You don't need a ticket to join in the action. With a new expanded menu and games galore, the Captain Morgan Club is your Cubs headquarters. For more information, visit CaptainMorganClub.com. We say it on the final day of spring training. We'll say it today with two teams that have been out of the playoff race for a while. We've seen some aggressive at-bats here. Do you expect to see more of that? Guys swinging early in the count?
I would think so.
As Johnson swings and misses.
Yeah. Yeah, especially against Ryan Dempster for the Astros offense. They know that if they get to 2 strikes, they're going to have to deal either with that nasty slider or a splitter or possibly a high 4-seam fastball. So try to eliminate some of the guesswork later in the count. They're attacking Ryan Dempster early in the sequence.
That's their first hit as Johnson is on. And it'll bring up first baseman, left-handed hitting Brett Wallace.
That's also been my experience in games like this, that the strike zone tends to be a little bigger than normal, and borderline plays are going to go the way of speeding up the game.
Ball 1 on Brett Wallace. Other interesting final day notes. The Cubs starters come into today tied for the National League lead with 95 quality starts. So they are tied with the San Francisco Giants. May get a couple of extra games. Not quite sure yet. Cubs have given up 3 or fewer runs in 15 consecutive road games going back to September 10th. The longest such streak for the Cubs since 1920. And last night, Carlos Zambrano got his 8th consecutive win to finish the season. Ended the year with 11 straight starts, having allowed 2 or fewer earned runs. Swing and a miss as Wallace strikes out. And Elias telling us that that ties the Cubs record since 1912, done 7 other times. So huge finish to the season for Carlos Zambrano. Here's Humberto Quintero with 2 outs.
All of his other issues notwithstanding, I think that's the best we've seen from Carlos Zambrano in his career. Certainly there were times early on where he was more dominating, would rack up a lot more strikeouts. But this stretch here at the end of the season, we've seen him pitch. Use all of his pitches, use them wisely, pitch backwards from time to time, something we've never seen him do before. Even in the ball game last night against the Astros leadoff hitter Anderson Hernandez, the game started with 4 of the first 5 pitches were off-speed pitches. When did you ever see Carlos do that before? He always wanted to establish the heater early and then incorporate his other pitches as the game went on and as necessary. But last night he was using all of his pitches from the first hitter of the game on.
Johnson, the runner at first, 2 outs. Two and 1. Sprayed foul off to the right, 2 and 2. Braves got a run in the bottom of the 3rd, so it's 2-1 Phillies in the bottom of the 4th. Jason Hayward with the RBI. Roy Oswalt was pitching in relief. Tim Hudson on the mound for Atlanta. That's a base hit into center. That'll move Johnson all the way to 3rd.
topspin grounder right back up the middle of the field on a slider that just never really took the break. Stayed up around belt high out over the plate, and because Johnson was on the move, he's able to advance around to third base easily here with 2 outs in the inning. Runners on the corner.
Called strike to Tommy Manzella. He's playing short. This is his first action of the series. 19th start since coming off the 15-day disabled list. He had a fractured left index finger and was on the DL for almost a couple of months. Came off in mid-August. So the Astros started Jeff Blum at short Friday, Angel Sanchez last night, and Tommy Manzella today. It's up and in, 1-2.
It was believed within the Astros organization that Manzella was going to be their shortstop of the future, and he may end up being the shortstop of the future here, but has struggled offensively. He's supposed to be a defensive whiz. He's made 9 errors on the season in just 82 games. He's having a hard time figuring his way around the major leagues at this point. Very aggressive swinger, doesn't walk very often. And with that in mind, you saw Ryan Dempster really try to expand the strike zone there to see if he could get the youngster to chase.
Two inside, full count. That'll give Quintero a head start from first. The pitcher Figueroa is on deck. Astros have not led in this series until now. They have a 1-0 lead as Tommy Manzella singles home Chris Johnson.
Right pitch, wrong location. Once again, Ryan Dempster goes to the slider. That one, too, just didn't take the same kind of break of some of the sliders we've seen in the early going here today. And Manzella able to stay on it and hit a soft liner into center for an RBI. Yeah, scoot that pitch over another 6 to 8 inches off the outside corner. Manzella probably swings at it anyway.
Figueroa bounced it foul. Career 160 hitter with 3 extra base hits, no home runs. Chopper fair, dropped by Hill. The throw gets away, and the Astros will get a run. They tried to pick it up, just could not get a handle on it, and then had to hurry the throw. It was offline, and now it's 2-0.
Miscombobulated play right from the very beginning. That little chopper up the first baseline. Looked like Coy was trying to pull a gun out of a holster there. That ball bounced up to his belt. Tried to make the barehanded play right here. And then regroups and tries to throw inside the baseline. Unfortunately, the throw was right behind Figueroa running down the line. Xavier Nady couldn't even get a glove on it.
An infield single for Figueroa, no RBI. The runners advanced, and Quintero scored on the error by Hill. One and nothing on Bogus Sevic. Make it 2-0. That ball really came up You notice the dirt is a little darker right in front of home plate. At about 9:30 this morning, there was a lake in front of home plate. They really watered it down, and I'm imagining that 5 or 6 hours in the sun, it gets really hard here, so they try to soften it up as much as they can.
Yeah, but you can see as you move down the first and third baselines, probably about 12 to 15 feet away from home plate, that's where the dirt does not get as much water and figures to be a little harder than that darkened area right in front of home plate. Were there any fish in that lake this morning?
Not that I noticed. But the grounds crew was out working on the infield, and they just kept watering the dirt until it puddled up. Another full count. Runner goes from first, swing, and a foul tip, I believe, for a strikeout to end the inning. The Astros get 2 and lead for the first time this weekend.
Coach Levy just cracked open one of the new Coors Light Silver Bullet pints.
Okay.
It's 16 ounces, got a wide mouth, and a resealable cap.
Golly, right.
And you know what goes great with cold Coors Light? Hot dogs!
Dog.
Dog. Dog. Enough.
The new Silver Bullet aluminum pint from Coors Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL.
Coach, my buddy changed seats, and now he wants his old one back.
Hey, move.
You moved, man.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Chicago Cubs and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Chicago Cubs.
Why do people shop at K&K True Value Hardware?
The place where you want to feel like you're being treated as a customer and as a person. That's the good vibes that you get back from people at K&K.
I know that when I walk in the door, someone is going to be there to help me.
My gosh, I've seen some of the same people for 25 years.
They're friendly. They help me out with a lot of my questions, and it's just great to see a smile.
Service with answers, that's the K&K way.
The high school player of the game brought to you by Black Hawk College.
It's just a stepping point in our season. Last week was a big loss to Bettendorf, and this is just a point in the right direction. Our line's doing well. Grant's throwing the ball great, and I think this is just the pivotal point. We're just going to keep going. Coming 2-2, just winning this game really just points us in the right direction. And we had our team just really pushed hard today, and it was just great.
This has been the player of the game brought to you by Black Hawk College.
The 26th Annual Cubs Convention will take place at the Hilton Chicago on January 14th, 15th, and 16th, 2011. Rooms are available now by calling the Hilton Chicago at 312-922-4400 and asking for the Cubs convention rate. Weekend passes will go on sale in early November. For more information, visit Cubs.com.
2-0 Houston. One of the runs unearned because of the Coy Hill throwing error, and Coy leading off the third inning. We will be joined momentarily by Cubs chairman Tom Ricketts. Curveball low, 1-1. Braves have now taken a 5-2 lead over the Phillies. They got 4 in the fourth. The plot thickens. 2-2. Bouncer to first base. Wallace will flip to Figueroa. And great to have with us Cubs chairman Tom Ricketts on this beautiful day here in Houston. Tom, always great to see you, and there's always a little bit of sadness when the season comes to an end, particularly when it's the regular season end, but this team has played pretty inspired baseball here down the stretch.
Yeah, it's been very encouraging. The last 6 weeks they've really played well. It's been a tough year and a disappointing year overall, but we definitely have some momentum. Hopefully we'll carry that over to spring training.
Yeah, that is the hope. You know, Cincinnati did it last year late. The San Diego Padres were one of the best teams in baseball the last month or so last year, and they carried it over. And we've been saying this a lot. Before you know it, we'll be right back at it in late February.
Yeah, it's not that long of an off season, really. Just you got a couple months to kind of regroup, and then they're back in February, right?
Well, what brings you to Houston, Tom? Just because of the final game of the season, or?
Yeah, I can't miss the final game of the season. I brought a few of my kids with me, so we're out sampling the local fare here at the ballpark and just being fans.
Swing and a miss. Dempster strikes out. So in a couple of hours, year one under your belt. Challenges, things that you didn't expect. We talked about being a fan and now being an owner. How would you assess just kind of your take on the first year with the Cubs?
Well, you know, we came in last October and we laid out 3 major goals. One obviously is to build a winning organization and get to that World Series and get that ring. And the second was to improve and preserve Wrigley Field. And the third was to be a more active participant in the Chicago community. I think on counts 2 and 3, we had a really good year. We did a lot for the field. We've got some great plans on how we're going to try to save Wrigley for the next generation. And we did a lot more for the city than we have in years past. A lot more for the community. On the first one, in terms of winning up at the major league level, it's kind of tough. But we've done a lot of good things. The organization's looking strong, and obviously these last 6 weeks have shown that there's a lot of potential with this team.
2-out walk to Blake DeWitt. That brings up Darwin Barney. We have seen a lot of the rookies and young guys, especially here this weekend. And Starlin Castro is going to finish the year at 300, which is a nice feather in his cap.
Yeah. He might have got a little lucky on that hit yesterday. Just kind of bounced out in front of home plate there. But he had a great season. As everyone knows, I don't think he's even 20 and a half yet. So he's just one of the many young players who have been productive, and one of the reasons that we're so optimistic about the future.
Tom, I was going to ask you if you have any plans on taking in any of the postseason this year in baseball.
Probably not. I don't really go to non-Cubs baseball games all that often. Maybe if I'm in New York around the World Series, I'll drop by, but nothing planned.
1-2 to Barney. How have you changed as a Cub fan now with the vested interest notched up by about 100 or so?
Right. Well, I've gone from being a fan to being a responsible fan.
There you go.
And it's different. Obviously, you guys know I walk around all game for the most part talking to folks. And, you really get a good perspective. We have the best fans in baseball. We have the best ballpark in baseball. Now what we have to do is match that up with a team that, that does a little better on the field.
DeWitt running as Barney off the end of the bat bloops it into shallow center for a base hit. And the inning continues for Marlon Byrd. That worked out well. Almost threw his bat at that one.
Yeah, it's nice to get one of those once in a while.
You know, they say, Tom, in this game, they all even out. The line drives that are caught are evened out by balls like that drop in. I've never been a firm believer in that particular theory, but
they don't feel even this year, Bob.
No, they don't.
Well, Marlin struck out in the first inning. One of the questions I had today coming to the park was, I wonder if Marlon Byrd is going to hit in the cage. No batting practice on the field. And sure enough, before Rudy Jaramillo even got dressed, Marlon was saying, I'll meet you in the cage. I said to Marlon, are you going to take one day off? He said, why? I said, you name one great hitter who takes a day off from hitting early, and I'll take a day off. But his point is that it's part of his routine. And we would say that he's probably the hardest worker we've been around in a long time.
Yeah, obviously he was a great addition to the team this year. I mean, you've seen today some great defense, great attitude, and a productive year at the plate.
Just missed 1 and 2. And the other thing we talked about earlier this year is that I think Marlon Byrd will be a bit more vocal as a leader in that clubhouse going into spring training, having a year under his belt here with the Cubs.
Well, it's possible. He's that kind of player. He's that kind of leader. He leads by example.
Swing and a miss. So Cubs strand a couple. Can you hang for a couple more minutes, Tom?
Yeah, absolutely.
Appreciate it. We're with Tom Ricketts, 2-0 Houston.
Which car recently tested better in overall quality among several top-selling manufacturers? It wasn't the 2010 Ford Fusion or the 2010 Honda Accord. Actually, it was a 4-year-old Toyota Camry with over 100,000 miles. And if a used Camry feels newer longer, imagine how long a brand new one will last. Lease a 2011 Camry for only $179 a month, plus get $750 cash back, enough to cover your payments through the end of the year. Toyota, quality to move you forward.
I think you're really going to like it here.
You guys are like all about football.
That's why we've got Xfinity. NFL Red Zone lets you see every touchdown from every game, every Sunday afternoon. And there's NFL Network for football 24/7, even on demand. It's everything a fan needs.
I'm so in. Really?
Never change the channel on Another Man's TV.
Get the football you want with Xfinity and the sports entertainment package. Sign up for digital preferred TV for $44.99 a month for 6 months. Call today.
What are the odds, Mike? All 4 meals under $4 going to the same table.
Yep. Cooked to order food, tiny little price.
I know. They must be the smartest people alive. I must shake their hands. How do I look?
Hat? You're a hat.
Okay, well, I can sit on one of their heads. They're giant, genius-sized heads.
Hello, geniuses.
Your favorite steak burger meals and even chicken fingers, all served with our thin and crispy fries.
Well, I thought it would be a much tighter fit. Oh, Mike, that'll help.
Steak and Shake. Life needs flavor.
Saturday,
we are raising the banner.
The Stanley Cup champs are back. Tune in for the Hawks' home opener against their rival Red Wings. Live coverage from the United Center begins at 6:30 with Chevy Blackhawks pregame live. Blackhawks, Red Wings. Saturday night at 6:30 on Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend.
Apple Vacations and the Cubs are taking a trip to the Dominican Republic. You can join. Stay 7 nights at the Iberostar Hacienda Dominicus with your favorite Cubs, including Sean Marshall, Carlos Marmol, and Hall of Famer Billy Williams. Go to applevacations.com/Cubs to learn more about this exclusive trip. Bob Brenly, Len Casper, and Cubs chairman Tom Ricketts here in Houston. It's 2-0 Astros, bottom of the third. I talked about before you know it will be at spring training, Tom, but before you know it, the 26th annual Cubs convention in January.
Oh, yeah, don't miss that.
It's going to be deep to right. Snyder will make the catch on the warning track. That's really the official kickoff of any Cubs season, isn't it?
Well, it's just a great event. I mean, I think the Cubs were the first to do this kind of winter convention, and it's by far the biggest and you know, the best one of them all.
That's coming up at the Hilton, Chicago, January 14th, 15th, and 16th, and we hope to see you there.
Well, I'll definitely be out there, so I look forward to seeing all the people I met this year at Wrigley at the convention.
One strike on Hunter Pence. We've got Northwestern hosting Illinois on November 20th. at Wrigley Field. A couple of successful concerts with the Dave Matthews Band. A lot happening at Wrigley Field.
Well, we're trying to do what we can. There's not a lot of things that you can do with it on a non-game day that are perfect. But when we see an opportunity like bringing in Northwestern to play or bringing in a good concert, we try to do that, and it's just fun. And those concerts were great. This football game is going to be off the charts. It's already I get people coming up every day asking for more tickets. So it's going to be a good one, and I think it'll be a good party in the neighborhood too. So.
And right now, Northwestern's 5-0, and Illinois gave Ohio State everything it could handle, so it should be an important Big Ten matchup. Two on Pence. Carlos Lee is on deck. That is in the dirt. And a full count, 3-2. Talking about the organization as a whole. This was one of the most successful years when you look top to bottom throughout the minor league system. Not only team records, but players moving up from level to level, and we've seen the fruits of that here at the big league level.
Well, that's right. I think that people have to understand that organizations win championships, and in our organization this year, if you look at win-loss records, we had the second best out of all 30 teams. We had a couple teams that had terrific years, including Tennessee, who just crushed it. They had a wonderful season. And, you know, we also have a lot of individual players that, while they're still young, I think we're developing them in a good way, and they should be contributors in the next couple of years. So it's very exciting from an organizational standpoint right now.
Fastball strike to Lee. Lined out to right his first time up. Missed that one by about 3 feet.
Well, hopefully Carlos Lee will stay quiet for another hour and a half or so. He just has not looked himself at all in this series. Maybe checked out a series too soon.
Fouled back to the screen. Still 0-2.
Tom, I know every team in baseball at some point after the regular season is over has organizational meetings where the big league coaching staff and minor league coaches, in some cases the scouts, everybody gets together to kind of have a state of the organization meeting. Do you plan on being a part of the organizational meeting with the Cubs this offseason?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We were down there. I was down there for the week it's first week in November. I was there last year. We'll be down there this year. I'll also take the offseason as a chance to go back to the Dominican. And maybe I'll drop in on that trip that you guys were just talking about.
I think you should, yeah.
But anyway, get back down there, if nothing else, in January. See the young guys down there and see our system.
That one is going to go. He hit it about 325 feet, but got it into the Crawford boxes to make it 3-0. Carlos Lee, that's his 35th career homer against the Cubs.
And we were hoping to get out of Texas without seeing that train move on the tracks out there behind the left field wall, but Carlos Lee, with what would normally be a routine fly ball to left field, gets it up into the Crawford boxes for a home run, spotting the Astros to a 3-0 lead.
Chris Johnson with 2 outs. Tom, last thing, you talk so much with the fans. Is there a particular theme or question that you hear more often than anything else?
Well, I think in terms of a theme, I think we walking around in early August, I think there was just a little real disappointment with the fans. I mean, I don't think they felt like the team was giving it its best on the field, and it just didn't seem like it was heading the right direction. And that's all turned around in the last 6 weeks. Walking around the last homestand, people are really excited about the future. In terms of the questions we get, obviously there's some big ones. Obviously, the next big decision for Jim is the manager for next year. So people are usually pretty open to giving me suggestions on that, which is nice. But so those are kind of the two big themes, I would say, over the last few weeks up at the field.
3-1 on Johnson. There's Jim Hendry next door, Cubs vice president and general manager. It's good to see Tim Wilkin here last night as well. That is fair, even though Ramirez ended up in foul ground beyond third base. Cubs chairman Tom Ricketts, thanks so much for the time as always, and we look forward to 2011.
Thanks, guys, and you guys had a great season, and we'll see you next year.
Sounds good. Thanks, Tom.
From routine maintenance to major repairs, from comprehensive inspections to advanced diagnostics, Midas does it all. Total car care, total customer care. That's the Midas touch.
Not all brake pads are created equal. Come to Midas and upgrade all 4 wheels to select Napa premium brake pads and save $100. These premium pads are made for long life and quiet, clean braking. Get up to $100 off now. That's the Midas touch.
You look like a woman with discerning taste. May interest you in some sports apparel or novelties. Cubs, Sox, Bulls, Bears, Blackhawks. You want it? I got it.
Much like a door-to-door salesman, WrigleyvilleSports.com allows you to shop from home with ease. WrigleyvilleSports.com, the largest selection of Chicago sports merchandise on the web. Obnoxious salesman not included.
Ralph de la Vega arrived in the U.S. as a 10-year-old Cuban exile with nothing but the will to succeed.
My NIU MBA helped me to achieve my dreams and my goals.
As a child, Gloria Coco was inspired by the way her father served society by practicing law.
My NIU law degree allowed me to do the same as a lawyer and as a judge.
Come experience the power of NIU at our Columbus Day Open House, Monday, October 11th.
Friday, Major League Soccer is on Comcast Sportsnet as the Fire hope to extinguish the Crew. Don't miss a second of the action live from Toyota Park. The Fire battle the Crew. Friday night at 7:30 on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend.
This fourth inning is brought to you by Fourth Meal from Taco Bell. Open 1 a.m. or later. 3-0 Houston. They got their third run on a solo blast from Carlos Lee. Ramirez strikes out. 5 already for Figueroa. He went into the 7th, 6 2/3, no runs Wednesday at Cincinnati, and has looked very sharp here early on. And this was an important start for Figueroa. He would like to be back with the Astros next year. And seemed to be very willing to pitch today when it looked like his season was over. Xavier Nady with a base hit. He has 2 of them today. Let's ask the AT&T trivia question. Let's see if you can come up with the answer. The last Cub rookie to hit 300. And it looks like Starlin Castro will end the year at 300. Ground ball, base hit. Manzella couldn't get to it. Back-to-back one-out singles for the Cubs. Not only is Castro right at 300, but he is just barely hanging on in the top 10 in the National League in batting average. And again, that would be an excellent accomplishment. Here are the guys around him. He's percentage points ahead of Hanley Ramirez. You see Ryan Braun right now firmly entrenched in 9th. Placido Polanco at 299. Adrian Gonzalez 298. So it's still fluid Keppinger diving stop. He's going to take the out at first to get Snyder. Two away, runners at second and third.
Tried to sneak it through that right side. Keppinger had cheated a few steps closer to second base in anticipation of a possible double play, but able to retreat and make the play with a dive. And now they're going to walk Coy Hill intentionally to bring Ryan Dempster to the plate with the bases loaded and 2 outs.
There's ball 3.
I think Dempster's going to get it. I think he's due.
You can pull one into the Crawford boxes.
I wouldn't go crazy. We'll just take a base hit at this point, but Ryan's done such a great job this year putting down sacrifice bunts when asked to do so. But as a hitter, only 2 RBI on the season. I see him double that.
Swing and a miss at the curve. Slider that time for a strike. Figueroa is 36 years old. He's been around a while. He's from Brooklyn, New York. Facing the Cubs now for the 14th time in his career. It's his 8th start. He's 2-5 with a 4.25. But he beat the Cubs at Wrigley on the 7th of September. Leads here today 3-0. Called strike 3 as the Cubs leave the bases loaded. They have stranded 6 over the last 3 innings.
Ma'am, can you identify the other airline that charged you bag fees?
That's it. That one right there.
Exactly how much did the other airlines make off with?
It was like $25.
Was that one way or round trip?
Round trip. $50?
Did you have a second bag?
Yes. Was $35?
That's $120 round trip.
Hey, Cubs fans, if you've ever imagined what it's like to be a big leaguer, here's your chance to live out that dream. The Randy Hundley Fantasy Camps return this January and are better than ever. The week-long camps include daily instruction by former Major League players such as Fergie Jenkins and Lee Smith. Each package includes a 7-night stay at the Dobson Inn Ranch and Resort, the spring training home of the Chicago Cubs. Each participant receives an authentic, personalized uniform. Visit Cubs.com to reserve your spot today.
Bravo, Charlie, initiate launch sequence. Wide mouth is in position for resealable cap. Cap in place and locked. Commence final cooling. T-minus 34 degrees. Mountains are blue. New silver bullet aluminum pint. You are clear for launch. Houston, we have refreshment. Introducing the new silver bullet aluminum pint from Coors Light. The world's most refreshing beer.
Let's answer the AT&T trivia question. Last Cub rookie to hit 300. Guy who hit 300 a few times in his career. Bill Madlock, 313 in 1974.
Well, Bill Madlock, especially at that time of his career, was a very similar hitter to Starlin Castro. Stayed up the middle of the field, hit a lot of line drives, a lot of ground ball base hits. Didn't hit a lot of fly ball outs, didn't strike out very much.
Including 21 games with Texas the year before. Bill Madlock hit 300 9 times. including 354 in 1975 as a Cub. And that led the league. He led the National League in batting average 4 different times. Outside corner and a strike on Brett Wallace. Bottom 4, 3-0 Astros. Braves are pulling away from the Phillies 7-2 in the 6th inning. Derek Lee has a home run in that one off Joe Blanton. So assuming for the moment we can do this, we can't do it in Atlanta, but we'll do it, that the Braves win. Another one on the outside. 2-2 the count. That would give Atlanta 91 victories. So if the Giants win later, the Giants win the West, the Braves win the wild card, the Padres are out. But with Atlanta winning, if the Padres win, that creates a 3-way tie. I love it. That one's crushed. Bird's back, now circling, and he can't get it. Wallace running to third. He is safe. Quick call by Lance Barrett. They almost got him on DeWitt's relay throw.
A little more wind here today than we've had in the first 2 games of this series. Played tricks with this ball. Looked like it was at straightaway center field, but it continued to slice until ultimately ended up near that 404 mark, just to the left of straightaway center. Marlon Byrd couldn't get there in time. Great relay by Blake DeWitt. And a very close play at third base. But it looks like he got it right.
It was the right call by Lance Barrett. It looked like Wallace was going to be safe, but the throw was perfect. They almost got him. So his first career 3-base hit. Infielders in a few steps against Quintero. Takes it for a strike. Bounced foul. Some birthday wishes today. We want to wish Cheryl Johnson a very happy 52nd birthday today. And a big Cub fan watching in Michigan, Mackenzie Millard, happy 6th. She catches all the Cub games on TV. Z may be hoping to get a pinch hit appearance later. I don't think that'll happen unless this game goes into deep extra innings. That ball hit the knob of the bat. No argument from Quintero.
We've seen that happen 3 times in the last couple of weeks, starting with Derek Jeter of the New York Yankees, selling it, getting a base because of a hit by pitch on a ball that clearly hit the knob. We saw it happen to Miguel Tejada in San Diego in that last series, and now Humberto Quintero today.
It's a fair ball, and Quintero's out. Well, he didn't like the call, but Coy Hill came straight out in front of home plate as he fielded it. If it's over home plate, it's fair.
Yeah, it's not where the defender is, it's where the baseball is in relation to fair or foul territory. And you can see Coy reaching forward. That ball obviously over home plate when he picked it up, and might be the quickest out I've ever seen. Quintero didn't even clear the left-handed batter's box, and he was out.
That's the best way to keep that runner at third, with a ball put in play. The catcher fielded right in front of home plate. Manzella with an RBI single. That gave the Astros a 1-0 lead in the second. And then he makes it 4-0 with his second RBI hit of the day.
It looked like Manzella had his mind made up. He was going to shoot that ball to the right side of the field regardless. Watch this swing. Head right down the barrel of the bat. Everything designed to produce a ball hit to the right side, and he finds the hole into right field for an RBI base hit.
Figueroa squaring to bunt, pulled it back, took a strike. Dave Clark, former Cub and former Astros manager, giving Figueroa some advice from third base. Dave Clark managed the Astros for their final 13 games last season. Nicely done by Figueroa as Nady tags him out. Sinker's low. Hard to see, but it's Thomas Diamond in the shadows out in left center.
They call that particular area of the ballpark the bullpen, and here at Houston the visitors bullpen really does look like a place that you might keep bulls. Hidden away behind the fence. Yeah, there you go. Not far away from the bullpen. Hard for us to see into the bullpen, but you can clearly see it's well lit inside the bullpen itself. I haven't heard any complaints from pitchers or catchers down in that visitors bullpen about visibility. Just tough for our cameras to see in there.
On a day like today, I actually think the visitors have the advantage because a home bullpen, there's no shade out in deep right center. A lot of full counts today for Ryan Dempster. Here's another one. Today's winning team finishes 4th. The losing team will finish 5th. Swing and a miss. And that ends the inning. Manzella with an RBI single, and it's now 4-0 Astros after 4.
Every day it's getting closer, going faster than a roller coaster. Love like yours will surely come my way. Hey, hey, hey. Every day it's getting faster.
AT&T and BlackBerry teamed up to evolve the smartphone. Business meet fun. Fun, business. AT&T. Rethink possible.
Trust DHCU for loans for any reason, for any season. Whether starting off on your own or moving into your golden years, we have a loan to fit your needs. Apply online, by mail, or phone, and get a reply as quickly as possible, usually by the same day. So surf us, buzz us, or stop by to find out how DHCU can improve the seasons of your life.
Save big money during the Menards Oktoberfest sale. Refresh paint from Dutch Boy with Arm & Hammer odor-eliminating technology delivers the amazing colors and durability you've come to expect from Dutch Boy while eliminating odors in your home. Flat is $19.46 a gallon. Make hard-to-reach projects easier with scaffolding. This 6-foot utility scaffold adjusts from 24 to 48 inches and has large casters for easy maneuverability. Only $99 after rebate.
Save big money at Menards.
Text footlong to 53695. If you are the 500th texter, you could win $5 footlong subs from Subway. Four nothing Astros as the leadoff man Blake DeWitt will start the Cubs' 5th. Called strike. Breaking ball pulled foul. Scheduled starters today in San Francisco: Matt Latos for the Padres, left-hander Jonathan Sanchez for the Giants. High pop flies center field. Bogus 7. One away. Know a newborn Cubs fan? The Newborn Fan Club is the perfect gift to showcase what it means to be a Cub for life. Receive a customized photo announcing the birth on the Wrigley Field marquee. A Cubs birth certificate, Cubs baby stocking cap, and a Cubs Rookie of the Year onesie. Perfect for parents and friends alike. Visit Cubs.com for more information and to sign up today. Youngster wearing Astros colors, which would make sense here in Houston.
Yeah, but you know he would really rather be wearing that Cubs onesie.
Yeah, I agree. Barney rolls it past Chris Johnson into left. He'll settle for a double, his 4th.
He didn't settle for a double, however, until he saw that throw back to the infield by Carlos Lee. You got to love about Darwin Barney. He does not assume anything. He's going to hit that ball down the corner and run until you make him stop. Took a big aggressive turn around second base until he saw the throw back to the infield. Only then did he slam on the brakes and be content with a double.
One strike to Bird. Reynolds will not break his own strikeout record. He has 211. He has the top 3, though, in Major League history, and they've all been the last 3 years. The only guy to strike out at least 200 times. 223 last year, 211 going into play today, 204 in 08. The Diamondbacks as a team will set a new single season record. They have struck out 1,517 times.
They had a couple of streaks this year where they struck out at least 10 times in a game. I believe it was 6 games in a row, and they did that a few times this year. I mean, 1,500 punch-outs in 162 games. If they'd have really put their mind to it, they could have averaged 10 strikeouts a game over the course of the season.
They were the first team to ever strike out at least 1,400 times. No team had ever gotten to that milestone, so to speak. So they shattered the old record. They will strike out more often than they picked up base hits this season. Fly ball to right. Pence still going back. He's going to get to the track as he hauls it in. Barney will tag. Look at that. The average, not even 1,200. Matt Kemp will go into today's season finale with the Dodgers on a 4-game homer streak.
Yeah, there are a few guys around baseball, even on losing teams, who hate to see the season come to an end because of personal streaks. I'm sure Matt Kemp right now feels pretty locked in at the plate and wouldn't mind playing another couple weeks.
Mark Reynolds not in the Diamondbacks lineup in LA. Pirates trail at Florida 5-2 in the top of the 8th. The Pirates are in danger of tying the 1963 Mets for the worst road record in a 162-game season. They're 17-63. That's caught by Manzella. Ramirez out. Cubs strand a man at third. Halfway home. Final game of the season. 4-0 Houston.
It's work through the grime and the muck month. Tow and pull without getting stuck month. Sweat every day to make an honest buck month. And if you're going to try and do this in anything other than a Chevy, well, good luck month. Great deals on the complete family of Chevy trucks, all backed for 100,000 miles. It's truck month. Now buy this 2011 All-Star Edition Silverado and combine the option package discount with other offers for a total value of $5,000. See your local Chevrolet dealer.
There's a myth you can't switch car insurance until your policy expires. Here's the truth. You can switch to Allstate whenever you darn well please. And if you get Allstate today, you can get an early signing discount, up to an extra 10% off. Even better, an Allstate agent can do the switching for you. Let the good hands give you a great price and make it easier for you. Dollar for dollar, nobody protects you like Allstate.
Hi, everyone. Gail Fisher here with a Coors Light Cold Blast Sports Night update. Stick around after the game for Cubs postgame live. Pat Hollingsworth will hand out his 2010 awards, and we'll look ahead to next year. Then Sports Night at 6:30 will preview tonight's showdown between the Bears and Giants in New York, plus a recap from the Cubs and White Sox finales. That's later, but now back to Len and Bob in Houston.
Gail, thank you. Jeff Keppinger leading off for the Astros. Bobby Scales into play third, so Aramis Ramirez's season has come to an end. He went 0 for 3 today.
The last game of the regular season, when you're not looking forward to the postseason, is always a very odd afternoon.
Bird will not get there in time. That's a base hit.
I mean, throughout the regular season, you travel as a pack. Everywhere one guy goes, everybody goes. But the final game of the regular season, a lot of guys are leaving from Houston to go to their homes. I specifically remember one final game of the regular season when I was coaching for the San Francisco Giants. We played in Cincinnati, and some of the guys had flights so shortly after the game that they actually left the ballpark in cabs in their uniforms and changed when they got to the airport. It was one of the more bizarre sights I've ever seen. Matt Williams and Kurt Manwaring and several other Giant players climbing into cabs with their uniform on, throwing their luggage in the back of the cab, and off they went, and didn't see them again till the next spring.
And I'm sure nobody bothered him at the airport, because the last thing you're going to think is at the airport, well, the guy's got a uniform on, so that can't be a Giant.
Yeah, he must be on a softball team or something. Makes it easier when they check your ID. You just point at your back. I'm Williams, number 9.
Fastball for a strike. 1 and 2 on Pence. 8 hits for the Astros. Cubs have 5. But they have stranded 7. It doesn't seem like it's a big deal, because Rays and the Yankees are both in no matter what happens today. But how about this, Bob? You've got the Yankees and Rays tied for first. The Rays, if both teams tie, would get the tiebreaker because they won the season series 10-8. They beat the Yankees 10 out of 18 times, called strike 3. So the winner of the East gets home field advantage throughout the AL playoffs. The losing team is the wild card and doesn't have home field in either of the 2 American League series. So it's not as minor as it originally appears.
Yeah, that's significant.
And again, the Yankees have to win and have the Rays lose. But right now the Yankees trail at Boston 5-2 in the 6th. The Rays are down, but once the Yankees lose, the Rays win the division. Ground ball pulled foul. Menard's Big Lumber's stat, Carlos Lee with 35 homers against the Cubs, including 1 today, behind Pujols and Dunn. Should also add Aramis Ramirez last night with his grand slam. That was his 37th career homer against the Astros, the most he's hit against any opponent. Line is going to drop down in front of Soriano.
And for Aramis Ramirez, Len, you just hope his offseason is a healthy one and he's able to come back next year and avoid those nagging injuries that just aren't quite bad enough to place him on the disabled list, but they're severe enough that they keep him from playing at 100% all season long. The thumb injury was a huge issue for him this year, the shoulder last year. And injuries are always going to be part of the game, but you just hope he can avoid those kind of injuries that keep you from being 100%, because he put up great power numbers in the limited amount of playing time that he had this year. Certainly the average suffered considerably and struck out a little more than we're used to, but the power numbers were right there once again.
Ramirez finished the year at 241. His on-base percentage 294. He slugged 452. Everything down. Will be a huge key to the Cubs' chances next season. In fact, I would say Aramis Ramirez and Carlos Zambrano, if you had to name the top two returning players, are going to be the big keys. Swing and a miss by Chris Johnson, who was named the Astros Rookie of the Year. Hunter Pence, the team MVP, according to the Houston chapter of the Baseball Writers Association of America. Story online in the Houston Chronicle this afternoon. The pitcher of the year for the Astros was Brett Myers. In case you're wondering, Jeff Blum got the Darryl Kyle Good Guy Award. And his work in the community, the clubhouse, and dealing with the media. They also have a Houston area player of the year award, and it went to Carl Crawford, who's from here but plays for the Tampa Bay Rays. Got in on Johnson. The bouncer to short, and they're going to turn two. Johnson had a little trouble getting out of the box after that short arm swing, and the Cubs turn the double play to end the inning 4-0.
Save big money during the Menards Oktoberfest sale. Make your home more energy efficient with CertainTeed fiberglass insulation. A 40-square-foot roll of R13 craft faced is only $588 after rebate. It qualifies for the energy tax credit, but hurry. To receive credit, it must be installed by December 31st. Make projects go faster with Zircon stud sensors, now all on sale. This Pro Stud sensor has a scanning depth of 1.5 inches, only $888.
Save big money at Menards.
Ralph de la Vega arrived in the U.S. as a 10-year-old Cuban exile with nothing but the will to succeed.
My NIU MBA helped me to achieve my dreams and my goals.
As a child, Gloria Coco was inspired by the way her father served society by practicing law.
My NIU law degree allowed me to do the same as a lawyer and as a judge.
Come experience the power of NIU at our Columbus Day Open House, Monday, October 11th.
Quiet on the set. Take 73. What? Get moving. Bob Rohrman's bothering the boba. It's a diddly.
There's only one Bob Rohrman.
Tuesday, Bulls basketball is back on Comcast Sportsnet. Tune in for preseason action live from Milwaukee as Derrick Rose and the Bulls battle the Bucks. Don't miss Bulls Bucks Tuesday night at 7 on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend.
Hey fans, text Banner to BHawks. That's 242957 to join Blackhawks Mobile and be entered to win 2 tickets to the Blackhawks 2010 home opener on October 9th. That's Banner to 242957 for your chance to catch this historic moment as the team raises the Stanley Cup banner to the rafters.
Xavier Nady takes a breaking ball low from Nelson Figueroa, who has been outstanding today, pitching on 3 days of rest. Well, you hit it on the head. I thought the Cubs would see a lot of breaking stuff, and they have. 1-1 to Nady. Cut on and missed, 1-2. Not sure what his future holds, but I think if you asked around maybe 2.5 months ago, I think everybody assumed Xavier Nady would be a 1-year and out guy in terms of wearing the Cub uniform, but he can hit. I think we found that making the adjustment to being a part-time player and coming back from the Tommy John surgery, it was really tough for him early on as he strikes out. But he's handled first base just fine defensively. And who knows, Bob, there might be a spot on the 2011 roster for a really good guy in the clubhouse, and I've enjoyed being around Xavier Nady.
I would agree with you 100% on that. And where he fits in with the ball club next year remains to be seen. If you bring in an everyday first baseman, a slugging everyday first baseman, then maybe Nady's chances of sticking around are lessened. But maybe if you go with a platoon down there, Nady against lefties, a left-handed hitter against the right-handed pitching, I could conceivably see him back here. And as you said, the elbow being healthy next year is going to make a huge difference.
Or if some other parts change somewhere else around the diamond, maybe you decide that Xavier Nady playing 130 games at first base at a somewhat affordable price might fit in too. I think everything's on the table in that regard. And I certainly would guess that Nady would be amenable to chatting with the Cubs as a free agent after the season. He has enjoyed being a Cub, and I'm sure he wants to have a better result team-wise next year. In fact, I was talking to X earlier this season, Bob, and I told him that, Juan Pierre was such a disappointing one-year stint with the Cubs. He ended up having a good year. The Cubs did not, and wanted Juan Pierre to really enjoy being a Cub, but it's tough to do when you finish 30 games under 500. Saturday, it's a Hawks homecoming at 6. See how the Cubs spent the offseason on Stanley's summer vacation. At 6:30, go live to the Banners ceremony on Chevy Blackhawks pregame live from the UC. Then at 7:30, it's a home opener. The Blackhawks hosting the Red Wings. Don't miss it Saturday night on Comcast Sportsnet. Snyder fouls back. Throw to first, it was high, allowing Soriano to get back in on the dive. Quintero likes to throw to the bases.
Oh, he sure does. And this has become pretty much of a routine pickoff attempt with a runner at first base, especially with a left-handed batter, and a pitch in the dirt inside to that left-handed batter. I mean, your momentum is leading you down toward first base anyway as a catcher, and for those guys who have a strong arm and a quick release like Quintero, that almost always results in a pickoff attempt at first base.
Everybody's trying to figure out what the count is. It is 1-2. We had it right. I think on the scoreboard, once that pickoff play happened, it was like, oh, what was the pitch? Got him on the high fastball. Another throw to first. Soriano back again. And a lot of times, Bob, and I think it's effective, these throws, even if Quintero does not get the runner, he's going to take maybe a half a step or step off his lead, and maybe that secondary lead, and maybe you nab a guy at third. later in the inning, or in this case maybe at home. Who knows?
Yeah, keep it from scoring from first base on an extra base hit. And it's kind of like the pitch out too. You know, you don't see a lot of teams pitch out much anymore, but it serves a valuable purpose. It goes on that advanced scouting report. They like to pitch out. It may slow down a team that likes to steal bases or play hit and run. At worst, you maybe shorten up a lead by a half a step and keep a guy from advancing 90 feet. One of those things that just, it doesn't show up in the box score. A lot of fans don't even notice it, but over the course of a long season, it may save you a base or two or a run or two and help you win a game somewhere down the road.
Watch Coy. Let's be on the golf course.
Kick it back in the fairway.
Two and two. Coy wanted to, but he was able to hold, and it's full 3-2. Soriano goes on the payoff pitch, and we'll do it again.
We're talking about Xavier Nady's chances of coming back with the ball club next year. Coy Hill, another guy that has to have a little bit of uncertainty. A veteran backup catcher, making a lot more than somebody like Wellington Castillo, for example, would be making as a backup catcher. Have the Cubs seen enough of Castillo to be confident that he can be an adequate backup catcher? Who knows?
Hot stove league conversation coming up as we get into the heart of the offseason. But finishing up the 2010 campaign, it's 4-0 Astros.
Coach Vermeil, we got something here you're gonna love.
Let's see what it is.
It's the new Silver Bullet Pints. It's cold activated with the resealable cap so you can keep it covered.
Cover.
And look at this guy. He's 16 ounces. He's huge.
He's a horse.
Oh, yeah. And we got one right here with your name on it for after the game. No. After the game.
The new Silver Bullet aluminum pint from Coors Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL.
Look at him run.
He's like a baby deer.
Saturday,
We are raising the banner.
the Stanley Cup champs are back. Tune in for the Hawks home opener against their rival Red Wings. Live coverage from the United Center begins at 6:30 with Chevy Blackhawks pregame live. Blackhawks, Red Wings, Saturday night at 6:30 on Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend.
How can a 94-year-old green guy save you money during the recession? He can check out your comfort system for free and tell you how to save money on energy efficiency. J.L. Brady has been offering the best HVAC service in Iowa and Illinois since 1915, and they can show you how to go green and save up to 30% on heating and cooling expenses. A system like that could pay for itself in less than 2 years. They're family owned, and after all these years, still doing it the Brady way, the right way.
Did you know that 85% of homes have hard water? It doesn't make any difference if you're on city water or a well. That soap scum in your shower, it's caused by hard water. Hard water can clog your plumbing, ruin your appliances,
and dry out your skin and hair.
Your Kinetico water professional can help you get rid of hard water with a non-electric Kinetico system. You don't have to put up with hard water any longer. Call today.
Chicago Tribune Live, weeknights at 5:30 on Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend.
Watch Comcast Sportsnet Cubs game replays on demand with Xfinity TV from Comcast. Don't miss the action. Call 1-800-XFINITY today.
Little did he realize he's been on the scoreboard here in the ballpark for the last 10 minutes.
I'd say he does more roping and wrangling than dancing.
Dempster to Brett Wallace, called strike. Dempster came in at 209 and a third innings. By the end of the day, it will be his second highest inning total since his career best of 226 and a third innings with Florida 10 years ago. We've seen Cubs relievers up each of the last now, what, 3 innings. Bob, I hope Carlos Marmol gets in the game today because I've got a great major league record that he's going to set. If he doesn't, don't let me forget to bring up the note. It's good. You'll like it.
Okay.
That's why people have to hang around to the end if they want to hear it. It's good. You'll like it. 2-2 pitch. Got him. Called strike 3. 7 for Dempster. And his career high in strikeouts. Almost doesn't look like he's going to pitch anytime soon.
Sign up for a subscription to Vineline, the official monthly magazine of the Chicago Cubs. Vineline offers exclusive insider coverage and photography all year long. Visit the Vineline blog at Cubs.com for extra content and order today.
Quintero bunts it foul. .208 strikeouts for Dempster, 1 away from his career best of 209 in 2000. Interesting. That pitch came after Quintero squared the bunt.
Yeah.
4-0.
Ryan
just got away.
Doesn't have his cell phone. He can't text Quintero a message, so he sent the message the best way he could figure. He sails one over his helmet right there. 4-0 lead, and the opposing catcher trying to bunt for a base hit.
DeWitt backhands. Now, you know me, I could not care less about those unwritten rules. But when Quintero did square to bunt, it did make me think,
I mean, I don't really have a major problem with it, but I think Ryan Dempster just wants to send the message for future games against Quintero that we'll play that game. I could really see it if he was leading off the inning, just trying to get on base and get something started for the Astros. But with 1 out, nobody on base, you would assume he's going to go up there and swing away. And Ryan said maybe that's what you should have done.
Doesn't Manzella sound like a new reality show? Bridezilla, Manzella. He's had a productive day. 2 hits, 2 RBIs.
Kind of a combination of Bridezilla and Man versus Food. Which it sounds like Tom Ricketts here at the ballpark today, from what he told us when he left the booth. He'd had the nachos, he'd had a burger, he'd had a corn dog, was going to go get some brisket, maybe some ribs.
He's taking a break at the moment. I appreciate him stopping by. This will be it for Dempster. His spot due to lead off the 7th. Might be the final pitch of the season for Ryan. Nope, they walked him. How about this, Bob? I remember you commented in his last start that he had not gone to start without walking anybody. Well, that was his first one. He could have gotten Manzella. Would have been a walkless start for Dempster. Jason Michaels for Nelson Figueroa in the dirt ball 1. Figueroa was really good.
Seems like that's been Figueroa's MO throughout his career. Some really stellar outings interrupted by long periods of mediocrity. But he's pitched well here in Houston, hoping that he earned a spot on the staff, possibly in the rotation here for the Astros next year.
Two and two. Still could be a quality start for Dempster because one of the runs has been unearned. And if he gets it, it would be the 96th of the season for the Cubs staff. Fly ball right field. Brad Snyder makes the catch, and Ryan Dempster will finish up his season. Let's see if the Cubs can rally here in the 7th, take them off the hook for the loss.
Ma'am, can you identify the other airline that charged you bag fees?
That's it. That one right there.
Exactly how much did the other airlines make off with?
It was like $25.
Was that one way or round trip?
Round trip. $50?
Did you have a second bag?
Yes. Was $35?
That's $120 round trip.
For a limited time, the more you floor, the more you save. Save up to 70% when you buy additional rooms of carpet, hardwood, or laminate. Call now for Luna's lowest prices ever. There's more to love for less.
773-202 Luna.
Friday, Major League Soccer is on Comcast Sportsnet as the Fire hope to extinguish the Crew. Don't miss a second of the action. Live from Toyota Park, the Fire battle the Crew. Friday night at 7:30 on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend.
Summer sell down with 0% APR and rebates up to $4,000 in the Mitsubishi of your choice.
Plan your next holiday party with a Chicago legend with multiple locations. In Chicago, as well as Rosemont and Lombard, Harry Carey's houses some of the most distinctive party spaces around. Will make your event a home run. Call 773-HOLY-COW or visit harrycareysrestaurant.com. Makes me hungry. Well, that's it for Ryan Dempster. 6 innings, 9 hits, 4 runs, 3 were earned. Gary Pressey at Wrigley Field is in the press box, but here they put the organist right on the field.
That organist wasn't there the last 2 games, I don't believe. That must just be a Sunday thing. Or
it must be.
Yeah. I said give him an umbrella. He's sitting down there in the bright sunshine all afternoon.
Fernando Abad against pinch hitter Jeff Baker. Baker scored 3 times from the leadoff spot last night. Foul tip to make it 1-2. Now 8-4 Atlanta over the Phillies in the top of the 8th. Low and away, 2-2. Still not underway in San Francisco. Pirates did lose, so they finished the year 57-105, including a record tying 17-64 on the road. Again, that ties the Mets from 63 with the worst road record under the current format of 162 games, and we're starting to hear rumblings that maybe John Russell, the manager, might not be back. That was not an opening a lot of people had even thought about. They're going to be a bunch as it is. Ball 4, it's a leadoff walk. The friendly confines will be transformed into a football field when Northwestern hosts Illinois on November 20th. The next day, Sunday, November 21st, the Cubs will give fans the unique chance to toss around a football and relax on the yard lines at Touchdown on Wrigley Field. Participant tickets are $50. Guest tickets are $15, with proceeds benefiting Chicago Cubs charities. For more info, visit Cubs.com. Oh, 2 to Blake DeWitt. Bob, your thoughts on the mid-season acquisition? Blake DeWitt, who has pretty much played every day at second base against right-handers.
He's been a solid player. I don't think you can say he's overachieved. I don't think you could say he's underachieved. I think he is what he is. He's a solid left-handed bat, pretty good eye for the strike zone. Hangs in really tough on double play turns out there at second base. To me, it appears he has better range going to his left than going to his right. But, you know, the total package, he's a very solid player. He can play second. He could play third. In a pinch, you could probably put him at shortstop for a day or two.
If there's one hole in his swing or approach, he's got to lay off that real high fastball that teams try to get him with.
Yeah, he too seems to be a pro's pro. The little bit we've gotten to know of Blake DeWitt, seems to be very prepared. Spends a lot of time in that cage getting ready for every ball game.
I think the best way to maybe characterize the difference between Blake DeWitt and a Ryan Theriot, other than lefty-righty, is that I think he got more flashes from Ryan Theriot, but Blake DeWitt a little more consistent maybe all around.
I think that's accurate.
He pops it up. It's caught by Wallace.
You know, and the reality of this game economically, is you're not going to have an all-star at every position unless you're the New York Yankees and have an unlimited payroll and go out and buy up as many all-stars as you can shove into the clubhouse every year. And most teams are going to pick the players that get the big money, and then they're going to try to fill the roster with other guys. So you could do a lot worse than Blake DeWitt at second base.
I will say this, as Barney pops out, I think Darwin Barney has put himself very much in the opening day roster conversation for next year. In fact, I would say right now, without knowing what the spring training roster will look like, I think it'd be an upset if he doesn't make the club.
I think I agree with you on that one as well. I love the way Darwin Barney plays the game. He has some physical limitations. He's not as fast as you'd like him to be, but he too can play short, second, or third. Very solid fundamental player, both offensively and defensively. Really seems to have a grasp on how the game is supposed to be played.
Lexus pursuing perfection. Call to the pin. Abad is out. I think that's Wilton Lopez coming in. We'll be back.
Ma'am, can you identify the other airline that charged you bag fees?
That's it. That one right there.
Exactly how much did the other airlines make off with?
It was like $25.
Was that one way or round trip?
Round trip. $50?
Did you have a second bag?
Yes. Was $35?
That's $120 round trip.
Coach Levy just cracked open one of the new Coors Light Silver Bullet pints.
Okay.
It's 16 ounces, got a wide mouth, and a resealable cap.
Golly, right.
And you know what goes great with cold Coors Light? Hot dogs!
Dog.
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 Enough.
The new Silver Bullet aluminum pint from Coors Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL.
Coach, my buddy changed seats, and now he wants his old one back.
Hey, move.
You moved, man.
Which car recently tested better in overall quality among several top-selling manufacturers? It wasn't the 2010 Ford Fusion or the 2010 Honda Accord. Actually, it was a 4-year-old Toyota Camry with over 100,000 miles. And if a used Camry feels newer longer, imagine how long a brand new one will last. Lease a 2011 Camry for only $179 a month, plus get $750 cash back, enough to cover your payments through the end of the year. Toyota, quality to move you forward.
Right-hander Wilton Lopez against Marlon Byrd. Runner at first, 2 outs in the 7th. Fouled back. Lopez's specialty this year is stranding inherited runners. 31 of 32. He's been the premier guy in baseball in that category this season. And you know what that tells you, Bob? His 3.02 ERA is pretty legit. Yeah, that's outstanding. And he does it again, striking out Byrd. Stretch time in Houston, with the Astros leading the Cubs 4-0.
An echo is heard from the mountain walls. Forever it stands and proudly it calls, guiding you on to blue skies everywhere.
For generations, Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois has been member-owned. So we answer to you, not Wall Street. Because our reason for being is and always will be your well-being.
Find blue skies everywhere.
I think you're really going to like it here.
You guys are like all about football.
That's why we've got Xfinity. NFL Red Zone lets you see every touchdown from every game, every Sunday afternoon. And there's NFL Network for football 24/7, even on demand. It's everything a fan needs.
I'm so in. Really?
Never change the channel on another man's TV.
Get the football you want with Xfinity and the sports entertainment package. Sign up for digital preferred TV for $44.99 a month for 6 months. Call today.
When it comes to energy bills, let's see how low we can go. Let's do some little things that help us save big. Add some insulation here, a little weather stripping there, maybe an Energy Star rated appliance or two. Let's save money on the things that keep saving money. That way we can turn a little energy into a lot of savings. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. We're lowering the cost of staying at room temperature with Owens Corning Insulation, just $10.44 per roll.
Every morning, start your day with Sports Rise on Comcast Sportsnet. Up to the minute sports news, plus traffic and weather. Sports Rise every morning on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend.
Hey fans, Tuesday the Bulls are back on Comcast Sportsnet. Tune in as new faces join Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah on their quest for an NBA championship. Preseason action kicks off Tuesday at 7 with Bulls Bucks live from Milwaukee. Don't miss the Bulls and the Bucks Tuesday night at 7 on Comcast Sportsnet.
Bad news for the Bulls. Carlos Boozer is going to be out 8 weeks with a fractured right hand. Suffered that injury yesterday. As right-hander Thomas Diamond will take over. I stole your idea, Bob, a Cub fan. I know that that's the look you were shooting for.
That actually looks like a piece that's just glued on there. Sando might have to look into that.
His new gamer. The Phillies making life very difficult for the Braves. 8-7 in the 8th. They have scored 5 runs since trailing 8-2.
Now, Billy Wagner just got out of the 8th inning with runners at second and third. Braves leading by a run. He struck out Raul Ibanez to end the 8th inning. Phillies are not going to go down in that one without a fight.
And you have the Padres and Giants, who both are certainly interested in that result. They just started. They're in the bottom of the first, and they're scoreless. Sam Fuld now playing center, so Marlon Byrd's first Cub campaign is over. A rough day for Byrd at the plate. He went 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts, but he did finish the year at .293. As Bogus Sevic fouls back for strike 1. Fuld will go into the 9 spot. Foul off the bat of the Illinois native, Brian Bogus Sevic. Cubs have won the first 2 this weekend, but they trail 4-0. Topper foul. The Astros came in very hot at home. They still have won 20 of their last 29 here at Minute Maid Park. Thought the Cubs were getting a break when they didn't have to face Wandy Rodriguez, who had 13 consecutive quality starts. Going into action today, he was scratched with back spasms, and Nelson Figueroa filled in and dealt 6 shutout innings. Battle continues.
Bogusevic is just glad to see anybody other than Ryan Dempster on the mound. He just didn't seem to be picking up the ball well out of the hand of Ryan Dempster. Struck out all 3 of his at-bats so far in the game.
And he strikes out again. Reds' final tune-up. They beat Milwaukee 3-2 in Cincinnati. Starter Aaron Harang only went 2 innings. Matt Maloney got the win in relief. So the Reds finished the regular season in 91 and 71. They will start. They don't know where, but they will begin on the road in the division series. That's the other part of it. I mean, they know they're in, but they can't go anywhere until all those other scenarios are resolved. They may not be situated until Tuesday.
Oh, this is a traveling secretary's nightmare. Have no idea where the series are going to be played. Probably have hotel rooms blocked in a couple or 3 different cities just in case. Well, and on the topic of traveling secretaries, I know you would agree, huge tip of the cap to the Cubs traveling secretary Jimmy Bank, who did such a fine job this year, like he does every year, getting us from one place to the other in style.
He's been doing it for a long, long time. Two outs. It's Hunter Pence.
Boy, did I just hear Lady Gaga for coming to the plate music for Hunter Pence? Was that Lady Gaga?
I don't know if it was Katy Perry or Lady Gaga.
Maybe it was Katy Perry.
We'll get to the bottom of it. Does it really matter?
No.
I mean, either one, it's kind of like, does that get you pumped up? I guess in his case, maybe. And it also may not be his decision. Sam Fold in right center. Makes the catch. I know you would choose Christina Aguilera for your intro music.
The Carpenters.
4-0 Astros.
Coach Levy, just cracked open one of the new Coors Light Silver Bullet pints.
Okay.
It's 16 ounces, got a wide mouth, and a resealable cap.
Holy right.
And you know what goes great with cold Coors Light? Hot dogs!
Dog.
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 Enough.
The new Silver Bullet aluminum pint from Coors Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL.
Coach, my buddy changed seats, and now he wants his old one back.
Hey, Mo.
You moved, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 57th President of the United States.
The nation's fastest mobile broadband network. AT&T. Rethink possible. The new BlackBerry Torch with a slide-out keyboard for $199.99. Only from AT&T.
Are you going to the game or looking for a place to watch it? The Captain Morgan Club on Addison and Sheffield is calling your name. Open year-round with 30 flat-screen TVs and an outdoor patio. Come to the Captain Morgan Club to watch the Cubs and every sporting event. Tickets or no tickets, we're calling all captains.
Saturday,
We are raising the banner.
the Stanley Cup champs are back. Tune in for the Hawks home opener against their rival Red Wings. Live coverage from the United Center begins at 6:30 with Chevy Blackhawks pregame live. Blackhawks, Red Wings. Saturday night at 6:30 on Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend.
After the game, stick around for Sylvania Cubs post-game live. Get the last word on this season from Gail Fisher and Todd Hollinsworth. Don't miss Sylvania Cubs post-game live immediately following the game right here on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend. Bobby Scales leads off the 8th against Wilton Lopez and takes a knee-high fastball for a strike. Special thanks to our producer, Bob Albrecht, our director, Dave Turner, our associate producer, Tamara Anderson, the senior executive producer of Comcast Sportsnet, Jim Cornell Jr. Great work all season long. Bob and Tamara will be busy this winter with the Chicago Bulls. Dave directs Chicago Blackhawks hockey here on CSN. And I'll be busy watching.
Me too. But for them, the road trip just continues. The uniforms change, the venues change, but the road trip just goes on and on.
Ground ball to second. Keppinger will handle it. An 80 for the 4th time. Detroit trying to finish the year at 500, leading 4-2 at Baltimore in the bottom of the 9th. The Orioles 34-22 under their new manager Buck Showalter. I think the Orioles, like the Cubs, hoping that that'll have a carryover effect into 2011. 80 strikes out. It's 2 for Lopez.
A couple of four-seam fastballs up and out over the plate, and then finished off an 80 with a sinker down and in. Shadows starting to creep out between home plate and the mound. Not a major factor right now, but will be as we continue on here in the afternoon.
Austin Jackson 0 for 4 today for Detroit. His average at .293. Seems to be a two-man race in the Rookie of the Year balloting in the AL between Jackson and Rangers closer Neftali Feliz. The Angels, they'll finish under 500 for the first time since 2003, and no playoffs for the Halos for the first time since 06.
However, there will be an Angels connection to the playoffs, possibly 2 connections. Joe Madden, the fine manager at Tampa Bay Rays, former bench coach for Mike Scioscia in Anaheim. Also, Bud Black was Mike Scioscia's pitching coach in Anaheim for a long time.
Foul tip. Strike 3. Cubs go quietly in the top of the 8th. Bottom 8. 4-0 Houston.
I'm a random windstorm. Shaky. Shaky, shaky, shaky. Shaky, shaky. And if you named your own price on car insurance, you could be picking up this tab yourself. So get Allstate. You could save some cash and be better protected from mayhem like me.
Dollar for dollar, nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate.
Your time is valuable. That's why we just keep making Mediacom Online faster. So whether you're downloading your favorite tunes, streaming a high-speed chase, uploading pictures of your dog on Facebook, or earning your place as an online gamer king, you're not spending all day waiting, because you've got more important things to do, like having dinner with your family. And that's the value of Mediacom Online, the fastest internet with the best technology.
Do you have water or moisture in your basement? Did you know that existing water and moisture can create mold in your basement, causing structural damage and can travel through the air that you breathe? Keep your family safe and protect your home by learning more about waterproofing your basement from Mid-America Basement Systems. For more information about Mid-America Basement Systems, go to Channel 1, Mediacom On Demand, then visit Marketplace and click on Home and Garden. Your wish is on demand.
Hi everyone, Dale Fisher with the show. Day from training camp. Stick around after the game for Cubs post-game live. Todd Hollandsworth will hand out his 2010 awards, and we'll look ahead to next year. That's later. But now back to Len and Bob in Houston.
Yeah, thank you. We're in the bottom of the 8th. Rookie righty Marcos Mateo will do the pitching. We may not see Carlos Marmol in this game, so I've got to give you this quick note. Got a nice email from Ken Funk from Baseball Prospectus on Marmol's amazing season. Now, he's going to set the new record for strikeouts per 9 innings, just shy of 16 per 9 innings. But that's not the most amazing number. Ken has a number called, contact percentage. Fewest percentage of balls put in play. Under 41% of batters have put the ball in play, including home runs, against Carlos Marmol. The other 60% have struck out, walked, or been hit. Now, the previous such record was set by Armando Benitez in 1999, about 46.5%. So the old record was 46.43%. Marmol's at 40.85, shattering that record. That doesn't surprise either of us, does it?
No. It just puts some numbers on what we were seeing with our eyes all season. Carlos just never got hit very hard.
Now, part of that 40%, or rather 60%, are walks and hit batters, so they are base runners, but guys just, again, don't put the ball in play. So we appreciate Ken for sending that along. And it's mind-blowing how little he needs the other guys defensively other than his catcher. Carlos Lee removed. Jason Bourgeois will run for him. And I think that in terms of a scouting report against Marmol, you really shouldn't be overly aggressive against him, because the best chance you have of reaching base is to walk or get hit by a pitch. But hoping for 4 walks to get a run is really hard to do.
There have been stories told for years and years about the great Satchel Paige when he was pitching in the Negro Leagues, that on occasion he would call in his fielders. I don't need you this inning. Go on in and sit in the bench, and he would strike out the side. Marmol's probably the closest pitcher in the game to doing something like that. Obviously, it's never going to happen, but given his history of striking out opposing batters and not needing his defense behind him very much, give that a shot.
Mike Quaddy's going to make the Lexus call to the pen. With the left-handed hitting Wallace coming up, we'll see who's coming in. Assume it's a lefty. Sean Marshall will be back.
We're taking the beefy taste of Angus and wrapping it up to go. Introducing McDonald's new Angus Snack Wraps. Made from 100% premium Angus beef along with the toppings you love. In 3 mouth-watering varieties for just $1.99 each.
When it comes to energy bills, let's see how low we can go. Let's do some little things that help us save big. Add some insulation here, a little weather stripping there, maybe an Energy Star rated appliance or two. Let's save money on the things that keep saving money. That way we can turn a little energy into a lot of savings. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. We're lowering the cost of staying at room temperature with Owens Corning insulation, just $10.44 per roll.
Do you mind if I sit down? I saw your smiling face and it stopped E&I tracks. You sell like velvet.
Put the M back in your morning. Enjoy one of your favorites from McDonald's Dollar Menu at breakfast.
Left-hander Sean Marshall will make his 80th appearance against left-handed hitting Brett Wallace. Well, with the development of Andrew Cashner, it looks a lot different out there in the bullpen, doesn't it, with Cashner, Marshall, and Marmol?
Oh, it sure does. I mean, Sean Marshall's had an outstanding year from day one. Very quickly developing into one of the best setup relievers in the National League. And as you mentioned, with Cashner coming along the way he did at the end of the season and Marmol dominating the way he has and can.
Bourgeois will steal second base without a throw.
Yeah, you'd like to think that tail end of the bullpen is in pretty good shape for the immediate future. Huge jump that time by Bourgeois. Just took off on Sean Marshall's first movement and easily stole the base without a throw.
80 appearances, a career high by far for Marshall. His previous best, 55 games last year. This will be the first year of his major league career in which he did not make at least 7 starts. He didn't make any. One to Wallace, back up the middle, fielded by Darwin Barney.
And you know in his heart of hearts, Sean Marshall would prefer to be a starting pitcher, but from his first day as a member of the Cubs, he has always deferred to the team. Whatever you need me to do, I will do to the best of my ability. And as much as he may want to be a starting pitcher down the road somewhere, he might be a starting pitcher down the road somewhere, but he gravitated to this setup role in the bullpen and has just been outstanding. As consistent as anybody the Cubs have had all year long.
Runner at third, 2 outs. Quintero the batter. Okay, the NL playoff picture is a little clearer now. The Braves won 8-7. Billy Wagner struck out the side in the 9th inning. He got the final 4 outs. So with the Braves winning, if San Francisco wins, there will not be a playoff. Braves will win the wild card. The Giants would win the West. If the Padres beat the Giants for the 3rd consecutive day, you will have the 3-way nightmare. 3 teams with 91 wins. You'd have the Giants and Padres playing tomorrow in San Diego. The winner wins the West. The loser would then travel to Atlanta to play Tuesday. And then the winner of that game Tuesday would play either the West winner if it's Atlanta. Yeah. You know what I mean. They wouldn't play the Phillies if it's the Braves.
Somebody's going to play somebody else. Yeah.
They need some Advil.
Ma'am, can you identify the other airline that charged you bag fees? That's it. That one right there.
Exactly how much did the other airlines make off with?
It was like $25.
Was that one way or round trip?
Round trip. $50?
Did you have a second bag?
Yes. Was $35?
That's $120 round trip.
Save big money during the Menards Oktoberfest sale. Update your bathroom with help from GE. This fan with light for up to 85 square foot rooms is just $38. Or choose this decorative fan in white, nickel, or oil rubbed bronze finish, only $69. Right now, all Delta bath faucets are on sale. This stylish two-handle Leland model with chrome finish or this one-handle classic model with stainless steel finish are only $69 each.
Save big money at Menards.
Ralph de la Vega arrived in the U.S. as a 10-year-old Cuban exile with nothing but the will to succeed.
My NIU MBA helped me to achieve my dreams and my goals.
As a child, Gloria Coco was inspired by the way her father served society by practicing law.
My NIU law degree allowed me to do the same as a lawyer and as a judge.
Come experience the power of NIU at our Columbus Day Open House, Monday, October 11th.
Visit the official online shop of the Cubs at Cubs.com. Browse the largest selection of official gear, including the latest apparel, nostalgic memorabilia, and authentic classics for the whole family. Get your gear from the official source, the Cubs.com shop. Accept no substitutes. Astros closer Brandon Lyon in a non-save situation with his team leading by 4 beginning the ninth. He's been tremendous. He's taking over for Matt Lindstrom. 19 saves since the 1st of August. He is tied with Carlos Marmol for the most in baseball during that span. A couple of other changes. Bourgeois stays in and plays center, moving Bogusevic to left.
Brandon Lyon will feature a two-seam fastball, a cutter that he'll use extensively, especially against the lefties trying to run it in on their hands. He also has a curveball, slider, straight changeup.
Snyder's 0 for 3, although should have a hit, like he beat out ground ball in the second inning, but was called out. You know, in the confusion of figuring out the schedule, if this thing does go to Tuesday, Bob, it could possibly force one tweak to the playoff rules in the division series, with the wild card not playing a division winner if they're in the same division. Because if you had that, logistically, it would make things just a little bit easier. You know, the idea being if Atlanta hosted a wild card play-in game Tuesday, they would know, look, the winner plays the Phillies, as opposed to, well, if we win, we go here. If they win, they go. That gets a little too much. Caught by Keppinger. And not to get too specific, but you're going to be calling one of those series and you have no idea where you're going after this game.
I have plane flights to just about every city in the United States after the ball game today. I've got a hotel room here, a hotel room in San Diego, and still have no idea where I'm going.
I have enjoyed you fretting over flights and taxi cabs and box scores, text messages.
And the problem is, just like when you tried to explain it in that last half inning, it's hard to figure out because there are just so many variables. Now, certainly the Braves winning it clears it up somewhat, but still a big question mark out there on the West Coast, and until that game is completed later this afternoon, we won't know.
I think the result of the Braves winning is that it's going to be very clean, no playoff. You got the 4 teams, or it's going to be very messy. Yeah. There's going to be no in the middle.
Well, and we had Commissioner Seelig in the booth that last homestand talking about possibly expanding the playoff format for Major League Baseball, which I would imagine would create even more headaches.
Coy Hill out into shallow left. Bogusevic makes the grab. The Cubs down to their final out of the season. We'd like to see them avoid the shutout. The Cubs have participated in a lot of shutouts here lately. They have 3 shutout wins on the road trip. This would be their second shutout loss. It could be 5 shutouts in 7 games on this final trip. Here's Sam Fuld. Called strike. Oh, 2. Here it is. Another foul. Ryan from the windup. 1-2. 31,105 on this gorgeous Sunday afternoon. And the season is over. The Astros salvage a finale 4-0, so they finish in 4th. The Cubs end the year 75-87, a 5th place finish. But they did win this series. They played great on the road, and Bob, they went 24-13 under Mike Quade.
Yeah, on the whole, a very, very disappointing season for the Chicago Cubs this year, but you really have to love the way they finished the season. A lot of energy, a lot of focus under Mike Quade, and I don't know if I believe in such things as momentum carrying over from one season into the next spring training, but if it indeed does, the Cubs could hold their heads proud and go into Mesa, Arizona, ready to get after it next spring.
Our GMC player of the game is Astros starter and winner Nelson Figueroa.
A guy that's probably pitching for his baseball life here in Houston next year, and certainly didn't do anything to discourage the Astros from bringing him back. Figueroa was really good, striking out 8 in his 6 innings of shutout work today.
So the Cubs will pack up. Most will head home to Chicago and put all their stuff in the duffel bags and boxes and move off to their off-season destination. A few guys, as you said, Bob, won't fly with the team. They'll just head home. You mentioned Michael Hoffpower. He'll just drive home to Jacksonville, Texas. And before you know it, we'll be right back at it in 2011. I say this every year, Bob, and I mean it every year. And I feel more strongly about it every year. You're the best in the business, and we'll have some more fun next season, but thanks for all your hard work.
Right back at you, partner. Really enjoyed this season. Although the results weren't what we were hoping for, we did the best we could.
Well, we hope you enjoyed the broadcast today, as Pat Foley would say, in spite of the outcome, as the Astros beat the Cubs 4-0. Our next Cubs telecast will be in 2011 from sunny Arizona during Cactus League play. In-game scoring provided by ScorePad for Bob Brenly, Bob Albrecht, Dave Turner, Tamara Anderson, Jim Corno Jr., our entire Comcast Sportsnet crew. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Gail and Todd will have Sylvania post-game live next.
Guys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Gail Fisher here in our downtown Chicago studio. Sylvania Cubs postgame live is next. Todd Hollinsworth joins me to recap the season finale in Houston. Plus, we'll hand out our Holly Awards to honor the best Cubs of the year. It's next on Cubs postgame live right here on Comcast Sportsnet.
It's work through the grime and the muck month. Tow and pull without getting stuck month. Sweat every day to make an honest buck month. And if you're going to try and do this in anything other than a Chevy, well, good luck month. Great deals on the complete family of Chevy trucks, all backed for 100,000 miles. It's Truck Month. Now buy this 2011 All-Star Edition Silverado and combine the option package discount with other offers for a total value of $5,000. See your local Chevrolet dealer.
Is pain compromising your life? Dr. Jeff can help.
My biggest passion in the world is the horses, riding my horse, showing my horse. 6-7 months ago, I was working him and my shoulders and my hips just tightened up and I couldn't really do anything. I had gone to several therapists, massage therapists, I had seen several chiropractors, I had seen acupuncturists, and nothing was working. I didn't think I was going to be able to ride again. Finally, I had listened to my neighbors who had been telling me for weeks to go see Dr. Jeff. Never once did anybody say, take a pain pill. Never once did anybody say you need surgery. It was all about fixing it in a much more natural environment, natural setting. I can pretty much do everything that I hadn't been able to do for months. It's a wonderful feeling to be able to actually get back and do what you love doing.
Call the Illinois Back Institute for a free consultation at 1-866-693-0955.
Bravo, Charlie, initiate launch sequence. Wide mouth is in position for resealable cap. Cap in place and locked. Commence final cooling. T-minus 34 degrees. Mountains are blue. New silver bullet aluminum pint. You are clear for launch. Houston, we have refreshment. Introducing the new silver bullet aluminum pint from Coors Light. The world's most refreshing beer.
Cubs baseball on Comcast Sportsnet is brought to you in part by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Menards. At Menards, you'll find big lumber yards, big selection, and big savings. Chevy. Over 1,000 people a day are switching to Chevrolet. See why at Chevrolet.com. Midas. For brakes, oil changes, and tires, trust the Midas touch. And by Toyota. It's the Now's the Time sales event at your Toyota dealer. Hurry, offer ends soon. This is Sylvania Cubs postgame live.
Well, after all of the winning at the end of the season, the Cubs have to end the season on a losing note. 4-0 is your final from Houston. Still, Chicago wins this series and had a very successful road trip to end their 2010 campaign. Hello and welcome to Sylvania Cubs postgame live. Gail Fisher alongside Todd Hollandsworth. So it is over. It has been a disappointing season, but the Cubs did put on a nice little show in the final month of the season under Mike Quaddy. Going out on a losing note, unfortunately for Ryan Dempster, cannot pick up win number 16 on the year.
Well, a few too many sliders early in the ball game. Lately, he had been throwing a fantastic slider. His last two outings, it really picked him up. But you know, going into today, you just kind of had that vibe that a few too many Ryan Dempster sliders were going to get hit hard, because it was almost like he was falling in love with it a little bit. And you see right there, that's kind of how it all started. Carlos Lee's going to hit a home run off of him, off of his slider. Again, his last start, he had a fantastic one. Today, it was a little flat. And really, that's what it comes down to. But, you know, it's so hard to sit here and feel you know, sorry for how this thing ended, because these guys really did have a great final 6 weeks, including Ryan Dempster. Great season. You know, I mean, if you really want to wrap this game up, you wrap it up by describing it as one of the games that they played earlier in the year. Not a lot of offense, some decent pitching, some shoddy defense at times, and a Cubs loss.
So Ryan Dempster will finish the season at 15-12. A nice effort from him, but again, no run support on this final start of the season. Nelson Figueroa was Len and Bob's player of the game. He went 6 strong, giving up just 6 hits, and of course, pitching some shutout baseball in his final start of the season with 8 strikeouts. So he was pretty dominating.
Nelson, he had good stuff today. He had a real good slider, and that was really the difference. In Demps, it was a little bit flat. Nelson, he had bite, but again, he hasn't thrown nearly the innings that Ryan has pitched this year. Nelson is probably pitching for his Astros career moving forward. He's a bit of a journeyman. He's bounced around a little bit. He's gotten an opportunity here in Houston. He claimed it today when Wandy was not able to go due to back spasms, and he made the most of his final start of the season.
Well, as you mentioned, the Cubs actually ending this season much the way they started the season. Not a lot of offense. They got away with, little offense this whole week, winning with some great defense and some great pitching. But today, it finally caught up to them. If you can't score any runs, you're certainly not going to win a ball game.
Well, that really just shows you how good the pitching has been for this Cubs team. We talk about the bullpen. The bullpen again today, no earned runs. Going out there, getting it done. But you just got to be real careful about what you buy into, especially this time of year. If you look around baseball, these games are very, very typical. 2-0, 3-1, 4-2 games, shutouts, offense, young players being inserted into lineups, getting opportunities to play, pitchers playing for numbers. When these games don't mean a lot, you just got to be real careful about how much you buy into it. And you look at next year, this team finished up great, but again, for me, it's always a new story and it's always a new chapter every season. So they saved this season, I suppose, at the end by playing some good baseball. I think you look at the big picture, it was a miserable, miserable year for the organization filled with expectations. Going forward, I think you have to continue to make adjustments in this winter, hoping to be better than how this team finished.
Well, they finished this entire week on the road with a 5-2 record, so not bad, winning both series in San Diego and Houston. Just could not get this final game of the season. Time for our first break on Sylvania Cubs Postgame Live. When we return, we'll hand out some hardware. It's the Holly Awards. Find out which Cubs will take home the coveted Holly today. As we head to our first break, let's check out our Cubs opinion poll question. Who will be the Cubs opening day starter next season? Will it be Ryan Dempster, the man on the mound today, Carlos Zambrano, or an off-season acquisition? Log on to csnchicago.com to cast your vote, and we'll have the results later on Sylvania Cubs Postgame Live.
Comcast gives you access to over 2,000 choices and the best HD picture quality in Chicago. Plus, get 10,000 on-demand titles to pick and play whenever you're ready. Call 1-888-4BEST-TV.
It's work through the grime and the muck month. Tow and pull without getting stuck month. Sweat every day to make an honest buck month. And if you're going to try and do this in anything other than a Chevy, well, good luck month. Great deals on the complete family of Chevy trucks, all backed for 100,000 miles. It's Truck Month. Now buy this 2011 All-Star Edition Silverado and combine the option package discount with other offers for a total value of $5,000. See your local Chevrolet dealer.
I think you're really going to like it here.
You guys are like all about football.
That's why we've got Xfinity. NFL Red Zone lets you see every touchdown from every game, every Sunday afternoon. And there's NFL Network for football 24/7, even on demand. It's everything a fan needs.
I'm so in. Really?
Never change the channel on Millie Man's TV.
Get the football you want with Xfinity and the sports entertainment package. Sign up for digital preferred TV for $44.99 a month for 6 months. Call today.
Which car recently tested better in overall quality among several top-selling manufacturers? It wasn't the 2010 Ford Fusion or the 2010 Honda Accord. Actually, it was a 4-year-old Toyota Camry with over 100,000 miles. And if a used Camry feels newer longer, imagine how long a brand new one will last. Lease a 2011 Camry for only $179 a month, plus get $750 cash back, enough to cover your payments through the end of the year. Toyota, quality to move you forward.
The puck drops on CSN. The Stanley Cup champions are back. It's the home opener, October 9th, on your home of the Stanley Cup champs, Comcast Sportsnet.
He shoots, he scores! What a rush up the ice! He's going to get to the net, he scores!
Blackhawks, Red Wings.
We're raising the banner. Don't miss it.
Oh, what a play!
Blackhawks are back, October 9th,
on Comcast Sportsnet.
Hi, I'm David Kaplan, inviting you to join me Monday for Chicago Tribune Live. Full breakdown of the Bears and Giants. Plus, we'll recap the 2010 season from a Chicago baseball perspective. It's all Monday at 5:30.
Tuesday, Bulls basketball is back on Comcast Sportsnet. Tune in for preseason action live from Milwaukee as Derrick Rose and the Bulls battle the Bucks. Don't miss Bulls Bucks Tuesday night at 7 on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend.
Time now for our Four Seasons Who's Hot, Who's Not around the majors. Who's hot? Pedro Alvarez Perez finishing strong. He has 3 homers and 10 RBI for the Pirates this week. The Marlins rookie Mike Stanton is hitting .444, and Jake Westbrook finishes the season strong, going 2-0 with an ERA just over 2. Who's not hot? Well, the guy we talked about in the pregame show, the one Carlos Zambrano wants on the team. Adam Dunn goes 2 for 19 this week with 12 strikeouts. Maybe Big Z doesn't want him that much right now anyway. Dan Uggla hitting just .192, and Jorge De La Rosa is 0-2 with 9 walks in his last 2 outings. Every day on Cubs Postgame Live, we pick the best Len and Bob call of the game. Here is today's Felco call of the game.
Called strike 3. And the season is over.
Oh, what a way to end it on a called strike. All right, the Cubs fall to Houston in the final game of the season 4-0. And there you see the standings. The Reds, of course, winning the division. The Cardinals finishing 5.5 games behind, and then a huge drop. The Brewers, Astros, and Cubs. So the Cubs just could not get 4th place in the division. But I say if you're not going to the postseason, I guess it doesn't really matter. All right, the season is over. Time to hand out some awards. It's the 2010 Hollies. And Todd, we thought we'd start with Outstanding Achievement by a Pitcher in a Supporting Role, otherwise known as the Cubs' top reliever, right?
Well, it's hard to go against Carlos Marmol. You know, there's a couple guys, Andrew Castro of late. I love to give extra points to rookies who are making great impressions, but Carlos came in here this year. If he has not proven that he is the most dominant closer in the game, that's an argument I'd enter into with just about anybody. 77 innings on the year. He only gave up 40 hits. He struck out 138 batters. That's almost 2 an inning. 43 save opportunities, 38 saves. Saved over 50% of the Cubs' wins this year. I mean, lights out. I mean, for all of us here in Chicago, we've just got to stop the complaining when he walks a couple guys, because I really think that we've turned the page on that, and we've realized that more times than not, he's going to walk a few guys every once in a while, but more times than not, he's going to get himself out of it. He did a fantastic job. He was consistent. He was consistent down the stretch. September, 13 for 13 in save opportunities. Fantastic.
Yeah, he did an outstanding job there. Now for the Holly, for pitcher in a lead role, who was the best starter this season?
Well, Ryan Dempster. He was the most consistent. He went out there, he took the ball every 5th day, and he got it done. Despite, you know, you look at today or whatever, and in the win-loss record, it definitely could have been better. But this is a guy who, to me, is what a starting pitcher should be all about. It's easy to say when you got 95, 96 in the tank and you've got the most devastating slider in the game, but you realize that most of these guys don't have it. They survive on guts, knowledge, preparation, doing all the things the right way. He's as classy a guy as the Cubs, in my opinion, have had in the last 6 years in their starting rotation, and he is that guy that you really build around. He may not have the best stuff, but he is a true competitor. He went out there every time, and he was consistent all the way through. And what I mean by that is good, bad, and different. This team went through a really, really bad stretch early in the year. He still continued to give this team a chance to win.
And now the Holly for Cubs MVP. A couple of worthy candidates, but Todd, you have a rising star taking home the award in this category.
Well, the star, Starlin Castro, fantastic job this year. And this is what I was just talking about a few seconds ago. When you're 20 years old and you get to come to the big leagues and you get an opportunity to play in front of 40,000 people on a daily basis for the most recognizable National League team, probably the 2nd most net recognizable team in all of baseball, and you come up and you hit 300 with 3 homers, 41 RBIs. You work through some of the issues you got on defense, some of those little lapses that he's had. You realize this is a special kid. He's got incredible athletic ability. He's got a great arm. He's got great range, unbelievable potential. But I look at all the circumstances that he was brought up under, and I give him extra bonus points, and that's what put him over the top. Marlon Byrd, fantastic season, consistent. You were there all the way through. You were diving in the outfield, making those great catches. You know, a great guy in that clubhouse now. I really expect to see you're going to step up next year and kind of be that spokesman for this offense. Solid season for Marlon Byrd, but Starlin Castro gets the award.
Castro finishes his rookie season with a batting average of 300. Pretty impressive. Still to come on the show, we'll have our poll results, plus we'll update the wild card race for the final 2 playoff spots and the National League West spot. That's coming up next on Cubs Postgame Live.
The Blackhawks are Stanley Cup champions. And Wrigleyville Sports has all your Hawks gear in stock. Over 100 items with more arriving daily. Get the official locker room cap and t-shirt the players wore for the celebration. Shop online and any size order ships for just $4.95. Orders over $100 ship free. Visit us at WrigleyvilleSports.com or at our retail locations across from Wrigley Field and Macy's State Street.
Why Lincoln? Why now? Because you get 0% financing plus bonus cash and no charge maintenance on Lincoln MKX and MKZ with quality that can't be beat by their Lexus, Acura, or BMW competitors. And only Lincoln gives you sync technology standard. Plus, Lincoln has more 5-star safety ratings than any other luxury brand. Now, get Lincoln MKX or MKZ with 0% financing for 60 months plus $1,000 bonus cash and a 4-year, 50,000-mile maintenance plan. See your Lincoln dealer today.
I think you're really going to like it here.
You guys are like all about football.
That's why we've got Xfinity. NFL Red Zone lets you see every touchdown from every game, every Sunday afternoon. And there's NFL Network for football 24/7, even on demand. It's everything a fan needs.
I'm so in. Really?
Never change the channel on another man's TV.
Get the football you want with Xfinity and the sports entertainment package. Sign up for digital preferred TV for $44.99 a month for 6 months. Call today.
Neck and back problems? You're not alone. Take it from an NFL Hall of Famer.
In 1979, I was a rookie, and I was playing against one of the best players in the league. And I tried to get him engaged and then throw him. And when I did, I had wrenched the vertebrae in my back out of whack. And from that point on, it never was the same. I couldn't tie my shoes. I couldn't sleep. I mean, it was madness. When I first met Dr. Jeff, we saw eye to eye about what I needed and where I needed to go. He has an awful lot of cutting-edge, innovative ways of taking the weight load off and allowing you to work the muscles without, the full body weight. Today, I don't even concern myself with, kind of making a mental note or a mental list of what I can and cannot do.
Call the Illinois Back Institute at 1-866-693-0955.
Welcome back. Taking a look at tonight's lineup. Our busy day continues later on Comcast Sportsnet at 6:30. Sports Night will recap the season finales for both the Cubs and White Sox, plus a preview of the Bears' Sunday night game and more on Carlos Boozer, who will miss 8 weeks after breaking a bone in his hand. Later, when the Bears game is over, we've got a complete breakdown on Bears postgame live, and then Sports Night comes up after that. And if you're still awake by then, God bless you. All right, welcome back to the poll question results here. Who will be the Cubs opening day starter next season? The majority of you say an offseason acquisition. Interesting. I would probably go with Ryan Dempster myself because, even if you had an offseason acquisition, you'd have to give the veteran Dempster a little courtesy and make him the opening day starter.
I agree 100%, although you look at, so you're only talking 2 percentage points there. Very, very interesting. What's going to happen this winter? We understand that, the payroll is going to stay pretty much where it's at, or it's going to go back down. It's probably going to be a little bit less. You wonder what kind of flexibility they're going to have, how they're going to get creative and try to bring in some pieces to help this team compete. I think a lot of people are recognizing this as a rebuilding year, but folks, listen, the Padres, they're breathing right now, and they've got a chance to do something special, and that's a team right now that at the beginning of this year that everybody had written off to be much more like the Pittsburgh Pirates, a team that's continually struggling year after year. And so anything can happen, and especially when you eliminate a little bit of that expectation. I know as a player, that's one of the hardest things to play with is expectation. When you go to a town and the town expects you to win and you don't get it done, that's tough. And it's a tough place to play here in Chicago. You understand that coming here. But again, if you go into this winter and understand that the way that this offense is going to be constructed, it looks like it's probably going to be a lot of the same faces that we've seen so far this year.
Well, it is a wild race for the wild card in the National League and also the NL West. The Braves need a win to stay alive for the wild card. And we'll look at these highlights as they take on the Phillies. Omar Infante bloops one down the right field line. Brooks Conrad and Tim Hudson score on the triple, it turns out to be. And the Braves lead at 5-2 in the bottom of the 4th. Now in the bottom of the 5th, the former Cub Derek Lee extends the lead. He crushes the solo shot deep to left. His 19th of the year, and the Braves go up 6-2. Now, The Phillies make it a one-run game in the 9th, but Billy Wagner comes on in and takes care of business. Shane Victorino, Ryan Schneider, and Greg Dobbs all go down looking. He strikes out the side and closes out the 8-7 win for the Braves. Bobby Cox's managerial career will continue for a little while longer, and right now the Giants are leading the Padres 2-0 in the 3rd inning. So this is your picture right here. The Padres desperate to get a win in San Francisco. It's still early, only the 3rd inning, but the Braves will live on, to play a wild card or win this wild card outright.
Well, it's going to be fun. Atlanta obviously is pulling for Atlanta's pulling for the Giants to win this ball game. They've jumped out on top, and if you look at how this season series between San Diego and San Francisco really has gone, those early runs mean a lot. Both of these teams have solid bullpens. There's not a whole lot of coming back in these games. So San Francisco's got the 2-0 lead right now. If they can extend it or stretch it out a little bit, it's going to be tough for San Diego to get themselves back in that ball game. That's good news for Derek Lee and his friends down there in Atlanta.
All right, we will have to wait and see how this one will unfold. The Cubs season, however, is over, and for a team that is not going to be playing any baseball in October, it will still be a very busy couple of months ahead for the Cubs because they have a lot of decisions to make, namely who will be the manager next season, and then of course some player personnel, as I'm sure Jim Hendry will work on trying to get some free agents and decide what the makeup of this ball club will be like for next year.
Well, what I'm really hoping for is that they get a little bit more athletic. That's what I want to see. And I feel like we've kind of evolved through that. Let's go out there and get as many power hitters as we can. I mean, that's what the Chicago Cubs have been all about for quite some time. But I'm really buying into kind of how this game is turning a corner right now. It's becoming more athletic. The emphasis on the home run, it's not nearly what it used to be. Yes, it's great to have that power, but you make comparisons between two players kind of like we did in the pregame show, and you look at Carl Crawford and you're looking at Adam Dunn, and in my opinion, I think a Carl Crawford fits here more than an Adam Dunn would, in both of them, having essentially the same probably salary requests or demands, however you want to put it. You look at what typical individuals are going to bring in, and I really feel like the Cubs shouldn't lock themselves into dimensional players. I feel like they've got a few on this team right now that are, they can give you the home runs when they're swinging it, but on the defensive end, running the bases, I think that they're average or maybe a little bit below. So you're looking to get a little bit more athletic. You talk about Starlin Castro. I mean, he ultimately ended up leading this team in stolen bases this year with 10 stolen bases. That does not bode well for a team that's looking to get creative. Again, you talk about doing things the right way. Under Mike Quade, they did a lot of things right. They got great pitching, and that bullpen really settled down. But again, a lot of your focus has got to be maybe getting another arm in that starting rotation, maybe a couple veteran arms in that bullpen, and somehow solidifying that offense. You got to get more consistent. You've got to be able to score 3 or 4 runs just about every night in order to compete and win. And with the pitching, I mean, you can't really bank on it being nearly as good next year.
All right, well, Todd, it's been a crazy season through my maternity leave. Carlos Zambrano having his suspension, the poor start by the Cubs, Lou Piniella retiring early. It's just been quite the ride, but it's always been a pleasure to work with you. Thank you so much. Great season. Have a good winter. I'm sure we're going to see you a lot, though.
I appreciate it, and likewise to you. Congratulations on the birth of your daughter as well. And it's been a fun year despite our Cubs. Our Cubs, it was a rough year in the beginning of the year. We did not have as much fun as we probably would have liked to, but you know what? They gave us an exciting finish. They played great against some teams that were in the playoff chase, and it made for a good final 6 weeks of this season when a team that found itself 21 games below 500 earlier in the year. They did finish up strong. There's definitely reason for optimism. So it's been a fun year. It's been a fun year around here, and we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, for the final time, we say goodbye here on Sylvania Comp's Postgame Live. For Todd Hollingsworth, I'm Gail Fisher. Thanks for watching, everyone, and remember, Sports Night coming your way later tonight at 6:30. Have a great night.
It's work through the grime and the muck month. Tow and pull without getting stuck month. Sweat every day to make an honest buck month. And if you're going to try and do this in anything other than a Chevy, well, good luck month. Great deals on the complete family of Chevy trucks, all backed for 100,000 miles. It's Truck Month. Now buy this 2011 All-Star Edition Silverado and combine the option package discount with other offers for a total value of $5,000. See your local Chevrolet dealer.
Ralph
de la Vega arrived in the U.S. as a 10-year-old Cuban exile with nothing but the will to succeed.
My NIU MBA helped me to achieve my dreams and my goals.
As a child, Gloria Coco was inspired by the way her father served society by practicing law.
My NIU law degree allowed me to do the same as a lawyer and as a judge.
Come experience the power of NIU at our Columbus Day Open House, Monday, October 11th.
Which car recently tested better in overall quality among several top-selling manufacturers? It wasn't the 2010 Ford Fusion or the 2010 Honda Accord. Actually, it was a 4-year-old Toyota Camry with over 100,000 miles. And if a used Camry feels newer longer, imagine how long a brand new one will last. Lease a 2011 Camry for only $179 a month, plus get $750 cash back, enough to cover your payments through the end of the year. Toyota, quality to move you forward.
Let Jim Doyle, one of America's most renowned marketing consultants, help you increase the impact of your marketing while spending less. There's a free 90-minute seminar to help grow your business. Already limited seating is now really limited. Jim Doyle's